Test 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, I'm recording now, and I'm not going to touch it. It's good.
I'm recording too, so let's do this again.
I'll let you know if there are any emergencies.
Okay. Welcome to 2 Cents I'm gonna start that again. I don't want to hit my fist that time. Welcome to 2 Cents episode 65. This is September 25th, 2016. 17 days till PSVR. The countdown series is on. I've been doing that for like 3 episodes now, 4 episodes maybe. But this is the live Undoctored news show we do here at Dollar Reviews. It's mostly VR, some tech, movies, TV on occasion. It's always run by me, except the one time I was gone. Well, I'm Brian Gillis. You can send me an email, brian@dollarreviews.net. It's harder than it sounds. It's BRYON. But then it's dollar and reviews, because I'd buy that for $1. I'm usually here with Steve. He's on vacation right now. He's in Switzerland. He was in Canada. He lives in Austin, even though he's mostly from California. He's a globetrotter. Props to that man. But I'm here with someone different. Last week, you didn't hear who it was. It was Chef Gio. I really wish we could have that track. It was a great episode. But this time, I'm here with Greg Trendy Krish. Say hi.
Hello, how's it going?
It's great, actually, besides the weather, because California can suck it.
It's late September, and it's hot.
It's autumn already. The first day of fall was a couple of days ago, and it's like, now it's going to be hotter than it's ever been. That's so cool. So you're actually special. Believe it or not, we're 65 weeks in. You're the first person that's ever been on this show that even has really used true virtual reality. Most of the people have either gambled with Google Cardboard or no experience at all. So you're very, very interesting. You should feel special.
Yeah, I would feel more special if I tried out the stuff that wasn't required for my job. But
that's it. Well,
I
start
mean,
there.
what do you mean?
What do you do? Tell our audience what you do. You're a virtual reality tech, right?
Yeah, I am a virtual reality technician, which means mostly trying to figure out and quickly fix what's going wrong with the HTC Vive.
Which means probably something every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
New technologies.
I've gotten decent at like putting out the fires and predicting where things are going to spill before they do, but there's always going to be something going wrong. It's tech. It's new tech. Yay, new tech. I love
year
it.
zero. So how'd you get into this? Went to Long Beach State with you, met you through like a comedy writing class where we did stand-up comedy as a final. Like the coolest thing ever. I have a YouTube copy of my performance. I'm very proud of it.
I do too. It's under a pseudonym. I don't even know if I should say, yeah.
It's like, should we share them? Or I'm going to keep mine secret.
I might do the same.
Maybe like a year from now. Like, oh, yeah, we did this podcast episode. We talked about this. Like, send this to Brian Allen Lane. Be like, hey, look, we did your thing. Now we did this thing, and you should tell your famous friends.
And to the faceless listener, if you do figure out my email, then you shoot me an email asking for the link. I might send it to you.
It's a secret.
It's a secret.
Totally secret. So you're a VR tech. I know you've been all over the place. You did Singapore. You were at South by Southwest. Do you mostly do expos, conventions? Like, what kind of content do you usually do? And better yet, who do you work for? What are the experiences you're showing off?
I work for a company called 3D Live, and we produce the content I'm exhibiting. So I have only toured with two virtual reality experiences, I think. Yeah, 2. But I've toured with them extensively. The first of which is called The Lonely Whale Experience, which was a...
Didn't that win something?
You know, you might be thinking of The Blue, which is also about a whale.
About a whale, okay.
But this one is, co-developed, or the idea was co-developed by Adrian Grenier from Entourage.
That's why it sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I have an
that's
Entourage poster in my room. I follow him on Instagram and Twitter. I'd fuck him. I mean, I'm not gay, but just saying.
I gotta invite you to the next Adrian gig.
This is the second time I've talked to someone that's met him. Have you heard of that band, The New Division?
It's not Joy Division, it's New Division.
That's the idea, yeah. It says like New or Joy Division. My friend, a close friend of the show.
Oh, that's
he
funny.
manages them,
Okay.
and I guess Adrian Grenier is a big fan. Has been to a couple of shows. So maybe I can meet him through both of you guys, and then
At the same time, and I don't know your friend, and we'll all meet, and it'll be amazing.
he's a darky too. Like maybe you guys are Sand brothers or something.
Pardon?
I don't know.
I'll shift everyone's political views by the end of the night.
I hope so. We're gonna get there in a couple of seconds. So you're doing the Lonely Whale experience, and what's the other one you've done?
It's called Lunar Drive, which is golfing on the moon. Both of them were okay. I'll say funded. Both of them were funded by Dell.
That's interesting.
And the Lunar Drive, we toured with the PGA, so it was
it's like golfing on the moon. Yeah,
golfing on the moon, and it was the World Golf Championship. So we hit 3 stops. The first of which was Miami, then Dell Match Play. Dell Match Play, a new annual golf tournament in Austin, Texas, and finally Akron, Ohio, which, as you can imagine, was the most exciting.
Yes, I mean that the NBA champs live there, right? So exciting.
Really the one, and all the Uber drivers knew his address.
And so do you like this? How'd you get into this is a better question. Like, were you aware of what virtual reality was before you got the job? Because you used to intern at the Eric Andre show.
Yeah.
And going from that to this seems like as far away as possible.
Yeah, the biggest difference is I get paid now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Were you there when, what's his name? Jimmy Kimmel's cousin or son or whatever was on the show? I think it was his son.
Kevy Kimmy. Yeah, he's a very cool guy. I worked the same. I don't know if he's still working for the Eric Andre show,
Probably
but I
not,
definitely worked on the same season. He was like kind of lead PA. So he
the captain of the no pays.
And he was assigned the task during one of the episodes of like kind of fondling his dad from under the chair.
Yeah.
Classic, but yeah, Kevin Kimmel, good guy.
Pretty kick-ass. It's like, it was pretty funny. You've seen that gag where like Hannibal Buress and Andre like switch Tinder accounts or matching with people. It's like not Forbes, like Vanity Fair put a video out on YouTube. It's pretty funny. I found out that I matched with one of the girls like months before that thing aired, and so I found her again. I was like, I'd use the exact same line. Why are you farting on that car? I was like, oh, look, it's like we're like Tinder Eskimo brothers now.
Okay, so I followed about 45% of that. You appropriated a joke from an
Yes.
Eric Andre Hannibal Buress promo stunt.
Yes.
For your own Tinder account.
No, I hollered at the same girl from the Tinder
Oh.
segue. Yeah.
Is that just like local to LA?
Yeah,
type of
it has
thing?
to be.
Okay.
Like Tinder, it's geo-based, so it's like
Right, so
1
she's
mile
still
to
on
100
there,
miles.
What?
I asked her too. I was like, "Do you get tired of that joke? How many times have you heard?" She was like, "Hundreds." I was like, "Oh fuck, I got no."
I'm
chance
amazed
now."
that she's still on there.
Yeah, and she has like the same exact pictures from that sketch. Maybe she's a robot. Maybe it's a dude. To be honest, you never know.
It could be a dude robot.
Bad robot, Mr. Robot, lots of robots. So this is if we get sponsored, where you could throw your money and have us pitch your shit. We're going to be on Patreon soon. Patreon.com/dollarviews. It's kind of like Kickstarter, except you pay us for shit that we've already done, not things that we want to do. So I'm trying to launch it by the end of the month, maybe this week. No promises. No promises. We do lots of shows here. Oh, I had one last question, actually. I'm such a jerk. So you said you've only done their experiences. You only do it on the road. So I'm guessing you don't use VR at home. You don't have a Google Cardboard or anything?
I have a couple cardboards that I just try not to use. I try to stay out of VR when I'm not working.
That makes
then
sense.
to answer your first question, not only is it like trade shows, but like also the film festival circuit. Like the Adrian stuff tends to lean towards or if Adrian is present, it means it's like a film festival or South by Southwest or something. But
something artsy fartsy.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to get the film industry people to understand what virtual reality is.
Right. So we run that racket, and then we do the trade shows, and the trade shows are nightmares. Oh,
Did you do Sundance too?
Yeah, that was my first gig, was Sundance.
That's so lucky. Like, they had such a good lineup this year. There's that one where like you're pretend you're a bird, and they even had like a fan and wings and stuff. I saw pictures of that. I was like, that's like the coolest thing I would never do.
I saw no content that wasn't ours at Sundance.
I'm gonna have to send you this thing. Like it is the most bizarre thing you'll ever see. Like when it's like there's like that other Japanese thing where it's like you're walking on a support beam like 100 stories up to save a kitten, and they actually put a piece of plywood on the ground, like a 2x4 rather, and there's a stuffed kitten in the middle of it, so it feels like you actually grab the cat when you save it.
Mm.
Like the cooler things, the weird things that you can't do with cardboard. At least I haven't done the Vive. I've done PSVR a whole bunch of times. I have a paid in full pre-order. I've done Oculus. Like you saw that shit on Instagram. Total letdown. Cardboard a good amount, but I'm kind of the same way. It's like I'm spending all this money on this fancy headset that my cardboard literally just like collects dust. Like I did VR porn a good amount, and now I'm kind of over it. I guess Sasha Grey is too. She did this interview this week where she said that like where is it? I don't want to misquote her. VR porn is too much, too in your face. I watched a trailer once, and that was enough for me. I don't think people watch porn to have a real experience. It's for fantasy. VR porn is like watching porn on a big screen TV. I don't want to see it. It's going to be too real.
So I think what Sasha Grey means is that she doesn't like VR porn as it stands, and if it was avatar sex in VR, then she would be down with it.
I think what she actually means is I can fuck better than everyone in the VR porn, and when it seems real, it's not because I wouldn't be just sitting there taking it. I think that's probably more accurate. But she continued anyway. She was like, time will tell in a way porn has always guided tech like a sort of muse. So
True.
maybe she comes out of retirement. I could see that. It's like, and I think a lot of porn stars could do this. Like, is there something out there that's like search queries for VR porn has jumped 10,000% in the last 17 months? Like, it is the only killer app on VR so far. Like, I don't care how good experience is. You're not going to do it more than 2 times, 3 times max. Like, games maybe, but just flat out experiences, you can only see the same thing so many times. Like, how much do you hate
Yeah.
golfing on the moon? The lunar drive.
Well, see, the interesting thing about the VR experiences, and this is just from me having to watch them so many times, is
Mm-hmm.
there are things to pick up on because you have the 360-degree perspective, and then the spatial aspect of that,
Yeah, the room scale.
and then the haptics aren't there yet, but they will be. Um,
Wait, the Vive doesn't vibrate?
it does, but I mean, like
It's kind of
that's
off.
that's pretty minimal compared to what's in the works. Because there are a lot of like
Gotcha.
I don't want to say third-party companies because there are so many companies doing
Oh,
everything right now.
shit tons of people, yeah.
Whatever party companies just creating their own technology for virtual reality that they are trying to adapt to um, any format that's open enough source. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Like they're trying everything.
Like
we're
someone's
get into
gonna make
that.
a glove, and then someone's gonna make a
Yeah, Manu
sleeve, and
VR,
someone's gonna
Sony's
make
working
a
on it. Someone's gonna make like an eyeball scanner. Someone's gonna make an elbow pad, and obviously like a fleshlight that works in VR. Like all these things are gonna come out over the next year and a half. It's gonna be super super exciting. So I'm guessing like talking about VR porn are most of the people that come to the expos and shit and the film festivals, are they mostly VR virgins, or is it like a toss up?
It depends on the event. When we do the film festivals or like conferences where it's more about social good, because
Uh-huh.
the Lonely Whale experience is like an anti-pollution kind of thing where you just feel bad for the whale because he's in a polluted environment and stuff. So generally, when we show it to people who actually like understand like the empathy level of the content that
Mm-hmm.
we're showing, those people tend to be the VR virgins because they're at a film festival or they're at like a women's conference or something. But when we're at trade shows like NAB or CES or something, people have watched 40 VR experiences that day.
Yeah, makes sense.
And they always like take off the headset and look pissed off, but I think it's like a personality type thing. Or I mean, like, and a lot of them like find something to complain about just to try to prove that they know something.
It's
But
like fuck you. This use this kind of thing, huh? That makes sense. That's why it was only 7 minutes long.
yeah, and they don't realize it's like completely lost on me because I don't care
Yeah, you just
about
get paid
much.
to make sure that the glasses look good,
Well, I get paid to make sure that the glasses look good and work first off,
and yeah,
and then
don't blow up.
with the Lonely Whale experience, we actually have a 4-seat motion bench.
Oh, is it
So
like a D-box type thing?
yeah, it's actually a pneumatic system that runs on a compressor, so it's like really intense
Damn.
in movement, and there's like smell and water and stuff that we don't use, but we do have like transducers in there, and yeah, and it like has like leg ticklers and shit. But
I have like you gotta tell me next time you're doing this in the area, and I'll find a way to go.
we could probably bring you by the warehouse at some point. But
That's even better, to be
yeah,
honest. Like maybe I'll actually start doing video content because like I did Long Beach Comic Con last week. I went to GameStop Expo the week before that. Like, or that was the same week actually. Like I'm going to a lot of shit now, getting press passes and stuff, and yet I'm like, no, I'll just talk about it to people. I'll just do it that way. Or like I take pictures and I don't share them. I'm like the laziest reporter, the
I
worst journalist.
I think I went to three. Okay, this no, I'm far enough out. It doesn't matter. I went to like three or four concerts on the CSULB press pass, and then I wrote like no articles.
Really? It's
Uh,
like who was it John that interviewed Toromoa? Yeah. That was pretty cool.
John. Oh
Villanueva
yeah,
slash
he's the one
Miranda.
who got me the. Okay, I'm not selling anyone down the road here. I decided that at the beginning of the interview.
Some guy, just the drummer from
I
Big
got
Sun. Just
yeah,
some guy. You probably never heard of
Big
their
Sun,
band.
great band.
They're
Also, he's
really
also
kick
in my
ass.
band.
Is he really?
Yeah, we haven't played for a while because of this VR gig, but slip, fall, die, investigate,
Oh.
slip, fall, die.
I almost went
Inside job.
to this DJ gig you threw like a couple of weeks ago. I was gonna go with Zamir, and he told me the wrong week, so I was all ready to
Samir, I was
go.
wondering why I wasn't there.
Yeah, he thought it was the wrong week, and then at that time he was like kind of seeing someone, so whole
Oh,
another thing.
yeah. Los Angeles listeners,
Gossip,
there's going to
gossip,
be another one
gossip.
of those nights this Tuesday, the 27th of September 2016 at the Lash. So you can catch that one, Brian.
Ooh, maybe I'll tell Zamir. I'll be like, hey, take me there. You can do it. You're an Uber Lyft driver. I'll pay you not to get paid.
Yeah.
I'll pay you in friendship.
That's yeah, it's the most valuable currency. Oh, well, actually, my superiors told me it's Bitcoin, but
It's probably Bitcoin because even with I wonder what the real Silk Road is called now. Like what's the new one called? It's like the plastic road. Like what's surpassed that? Like since Dope put that whole thing into a movie and fucking Mr. Robot, I think there's a Bitcoin like biopic coming out, or it's like the investigation
it's
of
probably
how
just
the FBI.
drugs.web.
Probably actually it's like freedrugs.com.
Yeah. Well, they're not free. I mean, Bitcoin.
Well, it's a cryptocurrency. It's like it's not hard
I have a
cash.
very shallow understanding of what Bitcoin is or
I
does.
know what it is, but it's even harder to like comprehend and to explain than virtual reality is because basically computers that are called mines, they're mining rigs, do lots of processes and their users that run those machines are paid in like bits, right? And so you never know when a new coin is going to come out. So you mine, and you get fractions and fractions, like fractions upon fractions, like 0.0001 Bitcoin for this many operations. And you do enough of those that you finally get a singular Bitcoin, or you buy them from someone, or someone gives it to you, or whatever. And the value is, I don't know what it is now. Let me just check, because I don't think I've checked in like over a year. One Bitcoin to USD. What is one Bitcoin worth right now? One Bitcoin is $601.24, and it's an unregulated market, and no one can track anything you do. So getting paid one Bitcoin is a lot of money, and that's just a singular currency of that.
So
And
you
when
could
this,
just buy one for 600 whatever bucks, right?
yeah, you can, but I have to believe that most people that have Bitcoin either have slaves to mine them for them, or they're like, I don't know, hackers or something. Because if I certain places, I don't know if Amazon does, I think they might, but certain like websites accept Bitcoin, like reputable ones like Newegg and stuff. So eventually, I would have to imagine that it's accepted like in restaurants, and that's kind of like Mr. Robot season 2 kind of goes down that road a little bit, and also the movie Dope, and like I said, a couple other things. So, like I said on accident earlier, the Patreon. I said it a little too soon. It's coming soon. But just an idea of some of the content that you could fund here. we do 2 other shows, usually every week. The first of which is called Debt to Cinema. It's our semi-topical list of shame show. We got lots of episodes. The one coming out this Wednesday is on Victoria. If you've never heard of that, Steve, it's the film. It's a German film that's shot in one take. Really interesting, really like hyperactive look at reality.
It's like the rope gimmick, but
yeah, but except
the
it's
present, if not the future.
Yeah, there's not a. It's the same gimmick except there's no cheating. It's not 12 minutes at a time. We've actually done rope on that same show also, which is funny. But we do weird stuff too. Freddy Got Fingered, Ricky O, the story of Ricky, which is this kick-ass kung fu movie where I do an introduction rap. And talking about raps, we also did an episode on Bullworth, which is a movie that Warren Beatty like raps throughout to Halle Berry in. Talking about Halle Berry, Catwoman, kick-ass movie. I'd buy those 3 right back to back, all for $1. And also The Gift, which stars Katie Holmes, where you can see her tetas, and that's coming to Amazon Prime next month. So that's a perfect Halloween watch. It is not good, but her goods are.
Dawson's Girl.
Yes. Well, Pacey's girl, to be honest. I mean, we're just gonna, yeah. And Jack.
They're all the same to me. White people is the same.
I've seen every episode of Dawson's Creek.
I don't doubt it, Brian. I don't.
It's a good fucking show. Like, I don't want to wait for your lives to be.
I was trying to harmonize. I couldn't.
What's funny though is most of the show, because I watched it on Amazon Prime and they didn't have like the U.S. Song choices. There was a different version for the international market that I can't remember, and it was like a breath of fresh air because that song, the original song, didn't get repetitive because I never heard it. It was like not nearly as good, but still kick ass. I recommend that show to everyone if you're gonna invest, 6 seasons of 22 episodes.
Are we still referring to Dawson's Creek? Or
yes.
Okay.
So it actually has like one of the best series finales I've ever seen. It's so cool because the whole show is meta, and it ends with Dawson, who gives up on making movies, and instead he makes a TV show based on his life. So the final episode has the pilot for his own TV version of Dawson's Creek. It's called The Creek. It's so fucking because this is Kevin Williamson. The guy that did,
he called it The Creek.
The Creek, yeah, because this is Kevin Williamson, the guy that did the Scream movies and stuff. He's into that. It's a movie making fun of the movies. It's a TV show about TV shows.
To explain to kids who might have been born after the 90s who will be listening to this 50 years down the road.
He's the guy that did the Vampire Diaries.
Well, yeah, but also just the rundown on the show. Dawson's Creek is he just like shows up to girls' houses in a boat in a rowboat, right? Or somebody shows up to his house in a boat.
It's the other way around. Like Joey Potter, Katie Holmes, ex-Miss Tom Cruise, she occasionally rows her boat up the creek to Dawson's house and climbs through his window and sleeps in his bed because they're best friends. And like most of the show is about, at least like for the first 2 seasons, how they're best friends but they love each other but they don't know they love each other except they do. It's one of those things, and then love triangles. And then at the same time, it's the WB, so there's weird stuff like Pacey fucks his English teacher. And but the real cool thing, and like the reason why I was interested is because Dawson's like a film nerd, and he has like Spielberg posters on every wall in his room. And his whole thing is like, I want to make movies. I love Steven Spielberg. So, going to film school.
He's got really straightforward film school guy taste, too.
Yes.
He's like a George Lucas fan and a Steven. It's like, who's your favorite director? He's like, I know this is like going to sound weird, but Steven Spielberg is.
I would, like, if I ever heard that in film school, like, I don't think I would laugh. I'd be like, you like Dawson's Creek too, huh? I mean, we're best friends. It's like, hey, cause
your favorite director is actually the guy who directed Dawson's Creek.
Sort of, a little bit.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool if Dawson's Creek got like rebooted as a movie and Spielberg directed it, kind of like he's doing Ready Player One, a movie about virtual reality, which is gonna make it even bigger than it's gonna be. But Debt to Cinema was cool. List of shame stuff. Dollar Views is our other show, hence the show.
What show am I on right now?
This one's 2 cents, where we give our 2 cents on news. It's all money based because I think I'm cute. But yeah, Dollar Views, we do spoiler free stuff, no recaps.
So I'm on the least amount of money, right?
Well, debt is negative money. Debt to Cinema is negative money. So you're on the second it goes, well, actually there's 4 shows. So there's Debt to Cinema, which is the least, 2 cents, Dollar Reviews, and then a few dollars more because that one's worth more monies. So 4 shows. You're on the second least worth show.
But in
my
Bitcoin,
favorite, it's 0.02 Bitcoin.
it's not
Maybe
bad.
that should be another
It's not
thing.
bad.
It's like
Yeah.
1 bit, megabit. So for the
8-bit.
new stuff, we did like Yoga Hoser, Suicide Squad, Batman vs Superman, the Ultimate Cut. Actually, I did that Batman movie fucking 3 times.
Which
the first 2
Batman?
episodes, the new one. The first 2 episodes I fucking hated it.
Which
the
one
third
is the
one
new
I
one?
loved it. The Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, Ultimate Cut.
Is that the Zack Snyder one?
Yeah.
I heard he royally fucked that up.
Yeah, no, that theatrical cut is like a piece of shit. But the one they put out that's longer on Blu-ray is actually really good. Like it's if you didn't see it yet, just see that one. Like I want to break my theatrical copy.
Yeah, if a
'cause
movie's really bad, I generally just want to watch a longer version of it.
it sounds like that, except it's like it's more so it was a good movie, and then the studio took 30 minutes out to make more money, and they made it bad. Because it's not the only example of that. It's like Kingdom of Heaven, which we did an episode for.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Like
I
4
tried
times.
watching the theatrical cut for that. I turned it off after like 15 minutes.
Is that the one with the
voiceover,
narration? Yeah.
Yeah, it is so just mailed in. Like Harrison Ford was so unhappy to be in that recording booth. I'm a Blade Runner. You come to my city where we stop the robots. Like, the only time I've seen him be lazier than that is in the Star Wars Holiday Special, which we also have a Debt to Cinema episode for. That is one of the worst things I've ever watched. Like, that is, like, seriously, there's no redeeming value. It's, like, if you were really drunk, maybe. Like, you could laugh at it.
See,
but
like, I find Star Wars boring.
Oh, you're gonna
independently.
think this is really boring.
Oh, really? So it's not like it's not since I thought the original thing was bad, this one's worse, so it's gonna be so
Yes.
bad it's good. It's not
Possibly. I doubt it. Steve thought it was so bad
One of
it's
those. The
good. I
pacing
thought
is not.
I fell asleep twice,
You fell.
and it was only like
you fell
70
asleep.
minutes long.
You went into a deeper sleep.
Yeah, and I woke up, I fell asleep, and I fell asleep within my sleep, and then I woke up and I was dead still. It was something like that.
Have you
but,
reviewed Inception?
No. Dollar
That-
Views is only recent releases, so it started in 2012. It was on a hiatus. It got picked up in 2015 again. I've been doing it since then. So
Studio picked it back up.
my studio, the Dollar View Studio, I'd buy that for $1. And so since we don't make a lot of money, we make zero money actually. We almost never do new releases anymore because
So I'm not getting
too
my
cheap.
favorite nation's fee.
I could pay you.
Pay me in hard candy where there's originals.
I could do that actually.
I actually don't think I can eat them anymore.
No, cavities.
Lactose intolerance. I don't know. I'd have to
Oh.
look at the ingredients.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of dairy in there. Just how milky it is, how like creamy.
I miss them.
Find that
If
out.
there's anything I miss, it's Werther's.
So do you do the lactate route or you do like soy?
It doesn't work. I inherited probably celiac from my mom,
That sucks. My aunt
Yeah.
has that.
but for some reason it only affects the dairy, and I can do the gluten. So I don't. It's weird, but it
Have you-
seems autoimmune.
Have you had soy creamy ice cream?
Yeah, it's pretty good. And
It's pretty good. Like
Yeah.
if I couldn't do lactose, that's pretty damn close.
Yeah, I learned from my mom because she can't do the gluten, so she has like the gluten-free version of everything, like rice bread or something. It's like I like watched that defeat take place, and then it's like, you know what? It's really not that bad. Like once you get far enough out from the
Yeah.
like real thing,
Once
you
you
just
for-
don't remember what it tastes like,
Mhm.
and it's fine.
I can see that. Like I'm the opposite. I drink whole milk. And so if I go to someone's house and they have 2% or God forbid like skim, it tastes like water. Like it doesn't taste like milk. I'm like, all the titty juice isn't in this. I swear I can taste because whole milk. It's like you're drinking ice cream. It is so thick. Like it's not eggnog, but it's not too far behind. It's so mucusy.
Wait, which one is Mikasi?
The whole milk.
Oh, okay,
It's
and that's
straight
your
from the
preference.
tip.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
They don't. All they do is pasteurize it. They don't. I don't
that's
even
what
know.
they tell you, man. That's what they want. You
I
to
don't
believe.
even know how you make skim milk. I imagine it literally is just they add water to the carton. Like I don't know.
It's like a dry. What is milk? Dry milk. What is that?
No, it's not condensed or evaporated. Like that's something else.
But then
This
they
is-
like bring.
They
it back
somehow take the fat out of a liquid. I don't know how that's possible. Like that seems impossible to me.
That's like the science that you're you won't believe in.
Like, I believe
That's
in the
the
tech
one thing
stuff.
that I don't believe they can
We're
do.
gonna get to tech in just a second. Before we do, 2016 has been the fucking worst year ever in terms of lives. My
Mm-hmm.
grandpa died a month ago.
I am sorry to hear that.
It's horrible, but fucking David Bowie,
Yeah.
Prince,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Spock,
Wait, did Leonard Nimoy die?
I believe so. If it wasn't this year, it was last year.
Shit. Alan
Terry
Vega. Oh
Jones,
yeah.
like,
Alan
oh,
Vega from Suicide, and then most recently Spank Spank from Future, original Acid House. It's
that's
like
nothing. Like, it's like,
there's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
listen, okay, Bill Nunn from like the Spider-Man movies and Do the Right Thing, Radio Raheem, he died yesterday of cancer. Muhammad Ali died this year. Arnold Palmer died today. You know when you get an Arnold Palmer drink, he invented that shit, and he just died today. He died.
Arnold Palmer died today?
Yeah, that's so horrible.
What is
He
it?
invented
Yeah.
probably the best mixed drink of all time. Non-alcoholic, mind you, non-alcoholic mixed drink.
I will like I will disagree, but like I'll also honor his legacy.
How did no one ever think of putting lemonade in iced tea before him? That's
Well,
a genius
you don't
move.
have to be first, is what I've learned in all my
You just
years
have to
of
have a
business.
famous name.
Yeah,
That's true.
entirely.
Yeah. I mean, look at Brangelina. They're gone too. That died. Like,
Yeah.
I read online that Truman Capote's remains just sold for $45,000 in an auction. Like, people are all about
So
death.
that's like new life, really.
Kinda. Like,
Yeah.
if you're still worth that much money and you're like fat and dead, that's, even if he was cremated, that's still pretty cool. I wonder what they're gonna do with his. How big of a fan do you have to be to buy someone's dead body?
Well, just considering like the topics of his writing, I feel like whatever they're gonna do with it is unsavory. But
I
you don't
saw
need
that
to get into
Capote
that.
movie like, was it last year, 2 years ago? Pretty damn good. Philip Seymour Hoffman, he died last year. Pretty damn good movie. Everyone is dying. Like, I'm still not even over Robin Williams' death, to be honest. I
Yeah,
can't
it's pretty
imagine.
depressing.
It's like, how many shootings and bombings and stuff that have been happening lately. Like, that's really horrible too. But then it's like it correlates perfectly with how many people are dying that were famous.
Yeah, it's like end times or whatever.
It's like maybe the Mayans were wrong by 4 years. Maybe it wasn't 2012, it was 2016 because they didn't know what leap year was yet,
Oh yeah,
right? It's like
totally.
something like that could have happened. Like the world's going to blow up. The VR was the end of the world. And talking about VR, before we get into the hot topic that you shared on Facebook and as did I, fueling the flames, SanDisk this week showed off that they created a 1 terabyte SD card. I don't know how that's possible. To put that into perspective, 16 years ago they showed off the first SD, and it only had 64 megabytes possible.
Yeah, like processing and storage and stuff. It's like a topic that I just try to avoid thinking about too much.
Because it's
Because if you
very
look,
scary.
yeah, if you look at where the like the CPU processing is at, where the
Mhm.
storage is at, and where the graphics processing is at, it's a very
It's
very
gonna plateau.
weird world we live in.
It's
I
gonna
hope I hope
plateau
so.
very soon. Because think about it, you really don't need more than 1 terabyte on SD card. Because this is perfect for 4K and 8K, obviously 3D, 360, and true VR. But if you're doing just like standard, like 1080p, 1 terabyte, you could record like say you're plugged into the wall, you could probably record for like 24 hours straight and still have room.
Yeah.
Well,
In
maybe
4K. I don't
not
know.
4K, yeah, but like in maybe 720p. Like I wonder, I want to find like an algorithm, type in how many hours can I record constantly, because it's gonna have to do that because a hard drive can't spin fast enough. I feel for VR content at a certain point, like unless it's SSD or just straight up flash, because you still need a format. I believe like I've tried streaming VR on YouTube, and you have to have crazy bandwidth and or be connected via Ethernet with like fiber optics. Like it's maybe 5G.
Well,
Maybe
the
that's why
streaming
5G is going to take
conversation,
off.
like yeah, I mean, I don't know what the specs on the 5G thing would be,
It's
but
probably
like
going to be like 1 gigabit per second.
they're only trickling out, more data, for or the phone providers are only like trickling out the opportunity to have more data for like a reasonable price. So that's one of the most inhibitive things.
It's also, though, it's like, if you think about the faster our internet is and the faster our mobile speeds are, means that's the faster the NSA can like watch us.
Oh yeah,
It
no.
wouldn't. It like currently it's probably like every meter or so they can track us now. Like in the future, it's gonna be like every centimeter or like micrometer. Like it's gonna be like literally they're gonna be able to see like the difference of like fleas. Like they track their legs. It's gonna be so specific. It's gonna be so scary. And like scary is the best segue I can do. Palmer Luckey, dumbass for brains, aka CEO of that small company called Oculus.
Oculus founder.
Yeah, the man who's leading the virtual reality resurgence. The
Apparently
guy,
24 years old.
yeah, he's young. He's younger than us, which is scary. Like,
Was he our cohort in
um,
school?
not us. I don't know. I think he might have went to USC.
No, he went to Cal
Um,
State Long Beach.
did he really?
Mm-hmm. Journalist.
Holy shit!
I
I
have
did
like a
not
couple
like.
mutual friends.
I know he lives in Long Beach, but I didn't know that. I should see eventually. Maybe not right now because he's under hot water, and we'll explain why. I mean, it would be really cool if I could get him on the show if this thing ever blew up, because he would be the perfect candidate. Be like, hey, I suck VR's dick. I won't suck your dick, but you're like the godfather of fanboying on the internet kind of right now. But yeah, this guy who was like Time Magazine Guy of the Year. Without him, VR wouldn't be where it is now. Not for tech reasons, but just interest reasons, because his Kickstarter. It was found out that he donated $10,000 to Nimble America, which is an advocacy group for Donald Trump, who do very mean things. Basically, if you associate people on the internet with Donald Trump, they probably like Nimble America's content, or have seen the billboards, or the anti-Hillary memes, or gone to the subreddit, the Donald, or any number of things. And to put it bluntly, basically, this has really pissed off the entire VR community, and they were already kind of mad at Oculus, aka Facebook, for exclusivity reasons. So this is just making this already kind of splintered audience even more segregated.
Well, and we're glossing over like some of what makes this hilarious, because Palmer he seems a little socially weird, but
Definitely. But he says he's a libertarian.
He refers to his rhetoric or methods of disseminating propaganda as shitposting and meme magic.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with a shitpost, I believe that is like, for instance, in the case of him supporting Trump, he would be like posting an anti-Hillary meme. It's usually like something very vicious, baseless personal attack, that sort of thing. It's I
more
mean,
so like they're definitely anti-Hillary memes, but shitpost is more like it's a Reddit term, and it kind of also like I guess you could say like shit tweet also. It's basically something bad like for intentional reasons that you can't take seriously, but it's supposed to seem like someone's like really gallivanting, like, oh yeah, like I believe in this. So it would be like I haven't seen this content because I'm not political. But if in the case of like the anti-Hillary stuff, it would probably be like, she is our ringleader. She has the secrets of the emails. Everyone vote for her type of thing.
So it's like a sarcastic meme.
Sort of, yeah. But like I said, I actually haven't seen this content. But
so I guess I misunderstood. I've just seen a lot of like vicious anti-Hillary memes that are just like, they make you upset at the awkwardness of the person who had to make it.
I like the cool, like they're like, you don't see them anymore, but it'd be the Bernie Hillary like split screen thing where it's you ask Hillary the question, you ask Bernie like the one I saw. It's like, what do you think of dabs? And it showed Hillary doing the dance move, and then showed Bernie like doing some wax. And it's like, Bernie's the man. Too bad he's not going to be our man.
Yeah, I just had to unfollow the Bernie Sanders dank memes page
because they're not relevant anymore.
All of what I understood to be shit posting, but now I feel like it might have been meme magic. Who knows? I feel like the Bernie Sanders dank memes is like, it's got like a little the Palmer Luckey money thrown at it these days.
Maybe
it seems like it.
Maybe it's Kaz Harai. It's someone else in VR that's doing it. It's like whoever's at HTC in charge of their VR department. But this is like kind of sad. I've used the Rift. It's not the best head-mounted display out there, But even still, there's a ton of people that have it, and if they don't have the Oculus Rift, they have a Gear VR headset, which
Which
still
are
uses.
those are garbage.
They, of course, but it's better than cardboard, like marginally.
Marginally better than cardboard.
Yeah, but a lot of people got it for free. Okay, so but
Well, they get the gear for free because I know the cardboard is generally free.
cardboard's like $25. You can get it for free lots of different ways. But yeah, if
Unless
you
you
buy
get homies who...
if if you buy a new Gear phone, like a Galaxy phone rather, you can get it for free as an incentive to buy it early. So like the Notes and the S7s, like any of their flagship models, the Edges and stuff, you can get like my cousin, for instance, he had the choice of a Gear VR or a Gear Watch, and he picked the Watch. So it's how they incentivize people to buy their really expensive phones. Um, so most people that probably experience VR are because of Gear, and most people, if they've already made experiences in games for Oculus or Gear, they're not going to stop. But there are lots of developers that said, fuck you, Palmer. One of them being Polytron, who are behind Super Hypercube, which is
Do you
my
mean
favorite.
it in reference, or I mean as a reaction to the recent news?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like they tweeted out the day it happened. They're like, here's a statement, and they're like, because of your political stance, we'd rather like basically not support your ecosystem because we don't want someone who like basically wants a fascist as president to be guiding where virtual reality goes. And they're not alone, but yeah, Polytron, they have this game called Super Hypercube, which is on PSVR. It is fantastic. It's like Tetris, except in VR. Like I can't really explain it. It starts out with a cube. You have to put it through a hole in the wall. Then that cube gets a cube put on top of it, another one, and you have to like rotate it and get it to get into the hole. It's like that Hole in the Wall TV show, except a video game, and it looks very retro, like wireframing and neon lights and like a kick-ass like EDM soundtrack.
That's actually 90% 90% of the VR I've seen is wireframing and neon and an EDM soundtrack.
Yeah, it's like a cool niche because when VR first was shown off, that's all what the tech could do. So this is kind of it's like a throwback, except it's really like futuristic too.
Yeah, I mean like, okay, VR is like mostly developed in Unity or Unreal, and so when you see something like that, or at least this is my read on it, because I've seen certain experiences in the development phases that look like that, and it like is oftentimes the result of ineptitude or a lack of creative vision. Because it's easy.
It's super easy. I don't think that's the case here though, because this is like a little like tiny indie game. Like Polytron are the people that publish Fez. Okay, they don't make this isn't a big studio. Like I have to hope that this is only $10. I hope it's not 20. Either way, I'm gonna buy it. But they're not going to Oculus. Like they had a Rift dev kit. They were working on porting it, and they decided no. And I don't like that was the big one for me because it's the one I've actually played their game and it's amazing. So that's a win for Sony. I doubt a lot of people would be like, I want the VR headset that has Super Hypercube.
Sony, for the PlayStation.
Yeah, for the PlayStation VR.
Right.
But yeah, Facebook is so ruthless when it comes to exclusivity, like with their Facebook Live stuff, and like Blizzard does game streaming there, and how many experiences and movies and stuff, and just like if you want to do Facebook and VR, it's gonna be on Oculus first for probably like a year or something. Oculus Social is already a thing actually, where it ports over your Facebook friends without you asking. So I don't know if this is the final straw for them. But they've had a bad year. They don't even have their touch controllers out, and they were the first to market. Plus all the shipping delays they had, and now it's like, well, Palmer Luckey's young, but he's also a child. He's a little internet baby.
I can only imagine Zuckerberg is fuming, foaming at the mouth because
$2 billion for
he's
this
trying to
shit.
pull off the like progressive politics thing, and then he paid $2 billion for Oculus. And Palmer himself walked away with, I believe, $700 million.
Almost a hot $1 billion.
And
which
he lives in our neighborhood, apparently, with like a few dudes that all play like LAN video games together all day.
I have to imagine he lives on the peninsula in Long Beach. There's no way he would live anywhere else in the city.
He lives on one of the oil islands.
He probably does own an oil island. That would be pretty baller, to be honest. Like, imagine you threw a party, and it's like, how are we going to the party? We're in a boat there, and then he shows up like on a jetpack or like in a helicopter, holds onto a drone and lands on the island. That would be so hot. They should make a biopic and they should film it in Long Beach and do it just like that.
A biopic.
And it's gonna, him and Donald are gonna have a scene together because they're besties or whatever.
Yeah, I was doing some interneting in the background here because I wanted to read to you Palmer Lucky's statement.
Oh yeah, I read
full.
it. Yeah, on Facebook.
I'll read it in full.
It's so horrible. I'm a libertarian. I've supported Gary, and I'm gonna vote for him again.
Do we have the time to go through it?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not even gonna do an accent, even though I want to, because, I am deeply okay. I'll do it. I am deeply sorry that my actions are negatively impacting the perception of Oculus and its partners. The recent news stories about me do not accurately represent my views. Here's more background. I contributed $10,000 to Nimble America because I thought the organization had fresh ideas on how to communicate with young voters through the use of several billboards. I am a libertarian who has publicly supported Ron Paul and Gary Johnson in the past, and I plan on voting for Gary in this election as well. I am committed to the principles of fair play and equal treatment. I did not write the Nimble Rich Man posts, nor did I delete the account. Reports that I am a founder or employee of Nimble America are false. I don't have any plans to donate beyond what I have already given to Nimble America. Still, my actions were my own and do not represent Oculus. I'm sorry for the impact my actions are having on the community. And
Of course he's sorry. Like, what's funny is he apparently only donated $10,000, which is, like, probably less than he makes in an hour.
Yeah, no, but in terms of, like, what that can do meme-wise, like...
Right?
The people who have the time to do that are very unemployed.
I would love to see a Palmer Luckey meme now, just because it's like a guy who shat on his whole career type of thing, and it's just him with like that a rift on with the googly eyes attached to the front, like, and it's like, it was just Facebook owns me. Oh no, I don't know. I can't create memes. Well, I'll actually make that into a thing. That'd be the dollar view meme.
Yeah, I'm not proficient in the memes.
Me either, but I understand. Like the Keanu Reeves one. Like, I think that one's kind of funny, where he's, it's the Target, or like the Fry one is okay, but it's like past the point now where it's like a lazy joke. It's like when someone you hear someone use the same punchline around you for like the 1,000th time, or like okay, I have a mullet. You know how many times I've heard people call me Joe Dirt? It's like, do you think you're funny?
Yeah, I didn't know you had a mullet, so.
Oh yeah, I totally got a mullet.
It's been that long.
Yeah, I got it right when I graduated. I decided to start the mullet life. Funny how it's like, you would think if I was in college I'd have the weird hairstyle, but I didn't. I wasn't thinking yet. I wasn't. The podcast is post college.
In your defense, I wasn't thinking either. I don't think any of us were thinking, because we went to went to four-year university.
Yeah. To learn how to make movies, and like none of us have made movies.
I don't make movies at all.
You make the opposite of movies.
I don't make anything.
You make VR come true.
I make dreams come true. Yeah.
Are you? Oh, here she comes. Are you Hall or are you Oates?
I'm Holland.
Ah, so it'd be like Oatsies. Holland Oatsies.
Otis.
Like that. You should make T-shirts. It's not illegal because it's not right.
This is really devolving. Is it usually this meandering, or am I derailing the?
If we're having fun talking, chances are, if someone's listening, they're having a good time listening, right? And if that's true, tweet at us at Dollar Reviews, or like hit us with something on Facebook, or like leave an iTunes review or something. Let us know. Make your voice heard. YouTube comments, we've got a good amount of those. I mean, this show's not popular on that website, but whatever.
You can listen on YouTube.
Yes. YouTube.com/dollar review. We couldn't get the S for
/.
We seriously, I couldn't get the S. So it's not reviews, it's just review. It's like we have a singular review. Yeah. Good times with URL struggles. But VR is not all bad, and there's going to be a lot on this show. Just proof, Mark Bolas, who was, first off, he's a mixed reality pioneer, but he was Palmer Luckey's mentor. He just got hired at Microsoft, so he's, I would assume, going to start helping them perfect the HoloLens AR headset.
Oh, I have intel on that too. I've used a
Ooh.
HoloLens.
Wait, what?
We have a HoloLens.
At your warehouse?
We have a T-Rex. Yeah.
I need to go to. I mean, they're not
I'll
that
see if I
expensive.
can clear it.
They're only. Is it $3,000 or $2,000?
I don't even know. Are they out yet?
Anyone can get one if you're a developer, and you don't have to prove you're a developer. But yeah, they're available to the public.
Yeah, HoloLens is a very limited field of view. So if you're
Yeah.
if you're expecting like sunglasses that you put on that are like AR sunglasses, not the case at all.
It's like
It looks like
70
you're looking
degrees
at
or
like a
something.
little, like two little screens, but then you see through them. So it is AR, but it's like a
Baby
pretty
steps.
disappointing
It's like
product.
basically you're looking at your Snapchat filter. It's that it takes up that much space. It's not your whole world. It's still it's still impressive.
Very small. Yeah, it's like like two little rectangles. So your eyes like composite that into one little one little rectangle.
It's like Google Glass was even less than that. It wasn't even your whole vision. It was like a tiny little dot that you like looked up at, like a radar
Yeah,
in
I
a
never
video
tried
game.
that. 'Cause
Yeah, I
it
didn't
seemed
either, but I was
underwhelming.
talking to my cousin who works for Google, and we were talking about VR and AR and stuff like this, and he was like, "Yeah, like people, because I was saying like it should come back." He's like, "Oh, he reminded me that it faces the business sector now, so enterprise clients are going to be using Google Glass because that's more cost effective, and you don't look like you're wearing like this big thing on your forehead either. There is glasses." But yeah, if Mark Bolus isn't working on HoloLens, he's probably going to be working on the Project Scorpio's VR support, either or. And like what's funny about Oculus 2 is it's very implied through tech relations that they're going to be using a Rift or the Rift 2 most likely on the Project Scorpio. So this is like not the worst thing in the world, but because we're probably going to forget about this after the election season ends. Unless
About
he wins,
Palmer,
unless if Trump wins, then no one will forget.
then we mandatory Oculus.
Yeah, it's like, well, of course he supported him. He has vision of the future, just like with virtual reality with presidents. He supported the obvious horse, right? Just something horrible like that.
If
Moving
slash
on.
when
We talked about him for way too long. He doesn't deserve it because he seems like
Palmer.
yeah, he seems like garbage. Not Arnold Palmer. Palmer Luckey.
Yeah, we got our we the imbalance of Palmer's is pretty unacceptable. I think like we're gonna have to backload this show with Arnold Palmer.
It's like one invented a drink and one's just thirsty. That's kind
Wheel
of
of Fortune before and after Arnold Palmer. Lucky to say that 5 times fast.
When I saw his name for the first time, I was like, "His name Lukey."
We could just keep it going.
Lucky?
Arnold Palmer, Lucky Charms.
You lost it.
Yeah, no, if I had done Lucky Strike, I would have been better off, I think.
Yeah, even Strike doesn't really.
Twice.
Hey Arnold Palmer,
Palmer
Lucky.
Luckey.
Yes.
Guess who?
Is back again.
Oh, yeah.
She's back. My raps are worse than that.
Yeah, so we're bad at word associations.
VR isn't all we talk about. I also really like talking about China. Maybe you don't follow them, but this is really exciting because it's Japan working with them now. Sony's just entered a partnership with Dylon Wanda, aka like the biggest conglomerate on the planet. They own crazy number of things, but they're going to be working together on Sony's upcoming movie tentpoles, such as the Jumanji sequel, Passenger, Spider-Man: Homecoming, and the Smurfs reboot. And the way this is going to work is that not China directly, but Dylon Wanda is going to give Sony like 10 to 15% financing on some movies, and then also just like use their magic skills in the Middle Kingdom to publicize these films so they can take off. Because China is the second largest box office on the planet. It's the fastest growing. And then Dylon Wanda, even if you don't know the name, because they own AMC theaters. They're about to own Carmike's theaters. They own Odeon in the UK and also UCI. They have their own Chinese company. They own Legendary Pictures, which is part of Universal. They have an agreement there. So every year Wanda gets to co-finance 5 movies with Universal. So like the big one already this year was like Warcraft and like King Kong and all kinds of shit. Like Legendary makes tons of movies. They produced the Christopher Nolan movies, but that was before they bought him. They bought him at the beginning of this year. So they have their fingers everywhere. The rumors is that they might buy like Paramount or like a major studio outright. Like they want to get China media like super 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 popular. And right now, as a company, they own 15% of the world's box office results, and they want to get 20% by 2020. So to say they have money is like putting it lightly. They're also like they own real estate and theme parks and hotels, just about
Tibet.
anything you can think of.
Yeah, they're doing great. They're killing it.
They're killing it for the world. They're killing it so good. Matter of fact, that politicians in Congress are scared. They're worried that Wanda is buying everything to infuse like Chinese propaganda into media assets.
There are worse things than Chinese propaganda.
Totally. It's like the weirder thing is I read this thing at the same time that I was reading. Did you see this shit where like you know that Disney movie Moana that's coming out where like The Rock voices like a Pacific Islander dude?
No, I'm not aware of this.
No. So it's like it's coming out in a couple of months. It's like Disney, not Pixar. So it's like how it's gonna be like a musical, kind of like Frozen and shit. And they're gonna hope it's super successful. So they're
It sounds
already
like vaguely offensive.
a little bit, but they
Yeah.
have like The Rock is actually Pacific Islander, so it's okay. But anyway, they're marketing the shit out of it already. It's Disney, so they have like hats and T-shirts and all that shit. And one of the items they had online was a costume of the Rock's character, and people online were calling it polyface, like a form of blackface, but for the
Yeah.
Polynesian people. And it's like I can understand, but I think that Congress being scared of the propaganda and this are like just as silly because we have actual problems out there.
Polyface is
Is a
like
crime.
sixth generation Pokemon.
It's Poliwhirl fused with like a Ditto, and like that thing fucked up Polygon, right? Pol-
Porygon.
Porygon, Poliwrath. No, there was a Porygon. Oh, yeah,
Poliwrath, Poliwhirl.
so
I'm a
many
big Pokemon
Pokemons.
fan for someone who has never downloaded or played the Go.
Oh, Go sucks. It's not even
That's
Pokemon.
what I've heard, but
You
it's
can't
yeah, it
even
seems
like
like Google
trade
Tracker to
Pokemon.
me.
No, yeah, that's what it is. Like Niantic,
Niantic.
Niantic, whatever. I can't pronounce their startup, but they started in Google. The
Yeah,
the,
totally.
the guy, the president of Niantic, helped create Google Earth and Google Maps, and then they
Hmm.
were like a subset inside Google until they spun off after Ingress came out, and now they're like they have like co-funding by the Pokemon Company and all this shit, and yeah, that is partially just people tracking us, but it's like oh well, I'm playing a game and losing weight, and I got the plus, and it's Pokemon. It's
A
Pokemon.
viable theory I heard is it gets people to take pictures of the interiors of buildings because you have your
Mm,
Google what is Street
that's a
View
cool
that goes
concept.
through the roads. So you can
Yeah,
get all the buildings, but the outside of the buildings. Now
it could take
you
off.
like
Have
eat
you
up
heard
the
of
inside of the buildings.
It's not called Project Tango anymore. It's just called Tango. Have you heard of this? It's something that Google's doing that's AR.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of these?
I am like vaguely aware of
Vaguely.
it. Yeah.
So basically, what the concept is, there's not even concept because it's already being utilized in phones this year, but it's like the next level AR. Instead of using like a camera, it uses sensors. And where Tango could potentially go is like, say, oh, I really need soup. I'm going to go to Target. And then you, instead of having to look around for the signs up above or asking someone where it is, instead you take your phone out, you're on Google Maps, and then when you get inside the grocery store, it like you type in soup or whatever, like Campbell's soup, okay? And it will direct you like GPS with AR into exactly where it is in the store, basically. And so it's like it's a AR, it's basically HoloLens within Google on your phone,
On your phone.
on your phone. So that could be that. Maybe yeah, like maybe Pokemon Go is using that data to create that shit, which could be
I'm
scary.
sure it's all tied in. I'm not like 100% sure, but I wouldn't doubt it.
The theories start here. 2 cents. Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
One
no,
of
I
those.
got I got plenty of theories, man, but it's like it's just enabling laziness is what it is.
It really is.
Like let's not use critical thinking anymore. Like even like as minimal, the minimal amount of thinking it takes to like, it doesn't even require thinking. It requires eyes. You like look up, read what it says on the sign. And it's like, oh, that's the aisle, and
Yeah.
then you walk over to it.
You know it's happened to you though, right? When you're in the store and you're looking for something and you get to the aisles and you're looking at them and you can't find, like, say you're looking for peanuts and you can't find what it is because it's under like tree nuts or something weird.
Right,
And
or you're like walking up and you're going walking around the store,
you're like,
so you have to like
where
walk
is
a
it?
few extra
I
steps.
was just on that aisle. Where did it go? Like I just became Seinfeld for a
So
minute
like,
there. That's
God
horrible.
forbid you have to ask someone.
Right?
who
Yeah,
works
that's
there.
the exact same point my cousin made last night. He was like, "Why does this need to happen?" I was like, "I don't know. It's cool though." Is it people like might take it for granted? Google Maps has like mall data now, so you don't have to look at the directory in a mall in the same way. Like when you go to like Six Flags or Disneyland, I don't think they give out maps anymore. You download the app and then you have a map on your phone. So it is stupid, but it's like everyone now is born stupid because they have a smartphone. You don't have to think. I have to imagine teachers nowadays don't even make their students do math because it's like, well, you always have a calculator in your pocket,
Yeah, a scientific calculator.
right? Like, why would I have to do long division now? Like, as a kid, like, imagine a teacher trying to go, oh, yeah, you need to know cursive. Like, I would spit in their face and be like, are you stupid? I'm never going to ever write something with my hands. Like, they all have iPads now at, like, age 7.
Except the smart kids are gonna have to endorse their fat checks.
Maybe. Fat checks, man. It was reported, and this is
Someday,
not a
right?
surprise. I wish I could get my own, but this is not a surprise. But the first half of this year, the first half of 2016, the music industry has made just as much money from streaming as they did from all sales, including digital.
Oh, that's bonkers.
It's
I didn't
1
even know
billion in terms of streaming, 1 billion in terms of sales.
that. Like tangible media
Yeah, well, tangible plus
or
digital plus
downloads.
all
Okay,
all downloads plus all like CD and vinyl sales equals 1 billion, and so does streaming revenue.
So the industry makes money off of streaming, but
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't go back to the artists.
It
right?
not a lot does. Like they, unless you're on Apple Music, I have to imagine they get a fat check, and that's why they're there first. Same goes for Tidal, which are definitely gonna fucking merge at some point, I would assume. And it's just gonna be like Spotify, Google, and Apple. Like that's gonna be it.
Yeah, let's listen to lossless music on our earbud headphones.
Yeah.
Like while we're driving in the car with the window down. It's
like,
it's such an absurd concept.
I really don't give a shit, and like never have, about just sound quality. Like if it's 320, I'm satisfied. Like that's good enough for me. When I go to someone's house who is like a vinyl aficionado and they go through the process of taking a disc out, putting it down, finding the track, waiting after it's finished, getting up to move the needle back to flip it over and do it again, and doing all that, in the back of my head I'm like, well, you could just have like a laptop out or like do it over Bluetooth and save yourself like 20 minutes a day of doing music related things. I understand
I would
it,
say it
but
sounds different.
it does sound different. That's like there's no doubt about that. Like it is a living specimen. Like it's tangible. There are grooves. It's true literal sonics. It's not data points. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
zero
just
and ones
direct
that
audio.
sound like music. But at the same time, it's like it's pretty archaic. Like it's no more. If VHS tapes had as good a quality as DVDs do, there would be so many hipsters out there that are still buying VHS. Like
VHS is really cool looking if you can find a CRT.
I have a CRT and a VHS DVD combo in my room.
And does it look badass?
Kinda, yeah. It's
Yeah,
really
it does.
weird. Like it makes
It's not the
like,
same. It's not the highest quality by
It's
any
so
stretch of the
weird.
imagination, but it's
Like you
fun
can
to look at.
see the signal from the VCR going like in waves down the screen. Like it isn't a clean picture. It's not pixels because it's CRT, but you can
Right,
see
it's like electricity or something.
yeah, you
It's
can
really
see the
exciting.
dots. Like it's so weird. First off, you need a CRT if you ever want to play Nintendo the right way. Like
Right, yeah,
you can't
totally.
play it on a plasma or a LED. Like it's impossible.
Yeah, it just looks like garbage.
It's not even that it looks like garbage. It's like the way the duck gun works. the NES zapper.
Oh,
It like flashes basically some kind of signal off the cathode ray
yeah, that
tube.
makes. I always kind of wondered how that worked, but not enough to look it up.
It's like really weird science, but yeah, you can't
Weird
mimic that.
science.
Lights and pictures understand why
Yeah.
people
So
understand
so
my
anytime I go to
business.
someone's house
Dun,
and they
dun.
have an NES with the Duck Hunt, and then they have like a LCD TV, they're just bullshitters. They're
Yeah.
master
Oh
bullshitters.
no, 100%, 100%. I should like I'm like pretty lazy. I
I'm so glad
could
that I know that now to call it out every time I see
it,
it.
just for funsies. I should like hook up my NES, my Super Nintendo, and my Sega Genesis to the CRT just because they're like in boxes under my bed. Because if it's not physical, like if it's not a disc-based media, I'm over it because just going and blowing the fucking cartridge and the dust and finding it to work the right way and the potential of the like the battery in the cartridge dying and you lose your save data or any number of things like an earthquake happens and your system resets or just so many things. It's like at a party I understand it's novelty, but like in your own place I'm past that. It's like that was when I was a kid and we didn't have good technology. In the same way, it's like, my CRT, I haven't used it yet to watch a movie since I put it back in my room, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't unless someone was here or I wanted like I have Attack of the Killer Tomatoes on VHS right here. When I want to watch that, I'll watch that copy, for instance. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna rent it from
Like how
iTunes.
many VHS tapes do you have?
Personally, probably just like one or two.
Yeah,
Um,
see, that's the problem.
that's well,
If you wanted to be as interested in VHS as like, someone's as interested in vinyl, like
uh-huh.
you could be very, very quickly just by
Oh,
buying a
for
few
sure.
extra VHS tapes.
Like what I was
Like you
gonna
get weird
say,
80s sci-fi. What?
I live with my mom, full disclosure, so she has a lot. She probably has like 100. So I do have many at my disposal.
Yeah.
Um, but I only grab like I have like four sitting right here that I'm interested in. Like I've never heard of half these movies. I was like, yeah, sure, that I'll watch that. It's like it was shot in Academy ratio. I'll watch it on my Square TV. It's like I'm in the theater. It's like the worst concept I've ever heard.
See,
TVs,
it's a matter of your interests and priorities.
that is true.
And
But
so, like, no. I'll take this further. It's just like your opinion, man, and opinions are stupid. So I'm out. Show
mic drop.
over.
It's like
Show
Mike
over.
Mike Crane Ray's TV is fucking over. Talking about overness, man.
But Netflix, man.
Exactly. Did you see that this
Stranger
week?
Things.
Well, I don't even know about Stranger Things.
I
I haven't
haven't
watched
watched
it
it. Yeah, I
yet.
haven't watched it either.
I got big things to do, like my podcast every week. But Netflix apparently wants half of their programming to be original at some point in the near future.
Yeah, why wouldn't you vertically integrate anything?
I know I that makes sense. They've always pushed their original movies and content really hard, and they have so much coming out this year, and they will in the future. But they literally want half. It's called Netflix, as in net movies, and it's gonna be all TV shows. Not even TV shows, streaming shows.
Apparently, the DVD ordering service that still exists, right?
Yeah, yeah. Steve does it on occasion, which is like bonkers, and it costs extra money to do it. Or you have to have like if you have the cheapo plan, you can't do stream it at all. And then like the streaming plan, you can get one movie at a time, and I think it goes up to like two. But then you have to pay extra money to get Blu-rays, so mostly they just have DVDs. And like the concept of DVDs being mailed in a paper envelope is really sketch because they're gonna get scratched or like broken. And I don't even know how that even is still a thing that you can get DVDs by mail. It's like the publishing clearinghouse. I mean, like the Columbia Record Club or whatever the hell they called it.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like the same exact concept. Like Netflix, that's all it ever was, and that's what streaming is. It's like I don't actually own it, but I borrow it for like a certain amount of time, and then it's like I own it, and then I don't have to buy it, but I'm still paying for it anyway. It's leasing media.
Yeah. It's irritating. It's irritating to me
No,
because
to me
I'm
too,
so
because
fickle that like I'm not gonna want to watch something until it's off Netflix.
So you've never seen House of Cards or Fuller House or shit, what else? Like Lilyhammer, Orange is the New Black.
I have seen zero of the four.
So yeah, I don't know. Those are like just some. I don't think most people have seen half of those, to be honest.
You're talking to the weirdest tech, like film student turned tech guy who like has seen no movies and it does not research tech unless it pertains directly to what I have to do.
That I can see that. I mean, I sell video games, and so because of that, I'm more interested in deals and release dates and the particulars than I should be because I don't buy half the stuff that I research. Not even when I say half, I don't buy like 5% of the shit I research. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
what's the what? Like I read like a magazine issue on this toilet earlier about like Dead Rising 4. I'm like, I'll never play this game, but now I know so many things about it. It takes place in a mall. You
Yeah, I
you
know
can
way
take
more about
selfies.
PC computers than I ever needed to.
It's like I'll always have a Mac, but just in case, who cares?
Well, you can't run VR on Mac.
Not yet. They're
Yeah,
gonna have
going
to.
back to what the Palmer Luckey, like his original asshole quote that like got him on my
The shit
immediate shit
radar.
list. Yeah, it was he was saying like we'll make Oculus for Mac as soon as they make a good computer.
Oh, I remember that.
And it was like a I'm not gonna smear everyone that I've met at Oculus.
Just
Period.
half of them.
Period.
Well, if you hate streaming and you hate Netflix, you're gonna really hate this because this is like you're talking about vertical integration. This is as far as it goes, and this is dealing with monopoly. AT&T is going to start offering free data streaming when users watch DirecTV Now content on their mobile devices. And if you don't know what DirecTV Now is, it's an over-the-top service. So there is no cable to plug in. There's no contract. Like PlayStation View is one of these things, Dish Network Sling, and to a certain extent Amazon Prime Video and Netflix. The difference here though with like DirecTV Now and like the upcoming Hulu TV package is the idea is that you can watch live TV, quote unquote, except it's all through the internet. And you can still get packages, and not only can you watch it at home, but you can watch it on your laptop or you can watch it on your phone. And so with this one, since AT&T owns DirecTV, they already have this
Hold
deal.
on, I can't hear you.
You hear me now?
Did I lose the connection? I am not
Hello?
getting your audio.
Did you do something?
Hold on sorry about that.
Still recording?
I think I'm still gone.
Okay, cool. So yeah, if you don't know already, AT&T owns DirecTV, and so if you have DirecTV already and you're an AT&T subscriber, it's the only way if you have both that you can get unlimited data. So very soon you're gonna already be a DirecTV subscriber. You have unlimited data, and then over 100 different channels or whatever on DirecTV now don't count against your data. So it's like
Okay, wait.
crazy, sinister, monopolistic, vertical integrated. Buy our phones, get on our network to watch our TV content, so you can do it for free on your phones. It's like
Okay,
the
so like oh, hold on. So does it count towards your data? You don't get unlimited data in general. It's just the DirecTV, right?
No, if you are a DirecTV subscriber and you have AT&T service on your phone, your mobile phone, you can get unlimited data. But if
So
you
like
don't have,
you can scroll through Facebook and YouTube with unlimited data as well. It's not just the
yeah.
content.
However, if you get DirecTV Now, which is a separate entity from DirecTV Direct, like from the satellite dish, if you get DirecTV Now, when you watch it on your AT&T phone, it's going to have the same perk. You're not going to count against your data. So it's the same. It's like if you and they just bought DirecTV like last year and they're already doing this shit. It's like the concept is so crazy. Like, how did the FCC allow this? I don't understand how business
Well,
can get
I mean,
away.
well, because I mean, like antitrust laws have been dissolved since the Reagan era, and like, when you think about it, it's like the media companies are shitting their pants because they can't get people to watch commercials anymore. Like you can go online and watch pretty much any TV show via an illegal streaming site, right?
VR commercials are going to be a thing, though.
So
I guarantee it. It's going to be like the VR
well,
experience
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
for
like,
soap.
well, I mean, to a degree, like the two experiences I've been touring with are advertisements.
Like
I
Save
mean,
the
they're Dell
Whales, and
branded,
this is the
so
PGA Tour brought to you by Dell. But I mean more so just a
yeah,
legitimate, just like an actual advertisement, as in, like you're in this experience, you don't know
yeah, like a
quite what
30
it
second
is.
ad.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, it's like enjoy five gum. You're like, what the fuck did I just
Yeah,
watch? Why do I really want five gum? That was awesome. Let's do that again. Like, it's gonna be the first time since like the soap opera days or like the original TV days where it would cut live to like a product and the star would say, "It's so good, you should get it." It's gonna be just like that, and it's gonna
yeah.
work wonders. And you're gonna go, Alexa, order five gum, and they're gonna ship it to your house with the drone, and they're going to deliver it to you without you having to take off your VR headset.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that everyone gets to like choose whether they participate or not. I don't watch TV as it's like programmed, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
me
don't
either.
watch like my parents watch TV,
Hmm.
cable TV, and like I'll be
They're
sitting there and I like I struggle to understand how they can sit through the commercials, which is like why AT&T is doing their thing and giving the unlimited data with the direct TV is because I'm sure that media is going to have the commercials interspersed into the programs.
probably, or it might just be directly what it is now. I think TV should just move to like the Adult Swim model where you get your entire program for 15 minutes commercial free, and then you get like a lot of commercials really fast. So you can go up, take a shit or whatever, come back and miss out on it. It's not a problem. Like you're not getting whatever you're watching segregated because anyone our age, we either DVR the stuff and skip the commercials, or we just wait until it's on Netflix and watch it commercial free anyway. Like you got to be a sucker nowadays to watch ads. Like the only ads you see are like the ones on Facebook or like the one on Instagram. So, aka the ones on Facebook. Like if it's not within an app, like there's almost no guarantee that you're gonna watch it. And like even when you're on Snapchat, you can just skip through the ads during the My Stories if you didn't know that. If you swipe right or swipe down, you exit it right away. Like you don't have to watch however long it is,
Yeah, I just like if whatever service would make you sit through the advertisement, I'll like mute it and not look at it
right?
because
Because we're smarter than that. The
yeah,
ads, it's they're gonna have to be really different. It was like the craziest thing. I mentioned it on the show last week. You know, AdBlock Plus, which is like the best thing you can get to get rid of ads on your computer.
they have ads now.
They have ads now. It's like it's not even
Yeah.
that they have ads. It's like they have the ad network where these are the okay ads. So they're getting paid by the advertisers that they're okay. They're like whitelisted. It's like how is that a thing? How does like no one have morals? It's like Trump's gonna make it worse. Hillary's gonna make it worse. It's gonna be worse regardless
Well, okay, yeah, the ad thing is gonna get worse, but like you know, everyone's still willing to work in advertising,
because it
and
pays well.
I mean it pays well enough. Like what jobs are there actually? Like
I work retail. You don't want to do that. It's horrible
there's
hours, really
retail,
bad pay.
which is like part of the consumer thing, and then
Uh-huh.
there's the marketing that allows retail to exist slash the food industry to exist. You know, it's
Yeah.
all like part of the thing.
It's like
But like
either you work for the people that give the consumers the stuff, or you work for the people that make the consumers want it. It's really the two jobs.
right, so ethically, like, do you have to feel bad about being on either side of that? Not really.
I don't know. I don't
That's
feel
like the
bad.
whole. That's like the whole machine. Like you know, there are. I use this analogy far too frequently, but like you know, there were generations, like multiple generations of people who, like, were building the Great Wall of China. Like they were born,
Oh
build the
yeah,
Great Wall of China, die.
their kid was
Born,
born. They
yeah,
built
kid
it.
was born, Great Wall of China, die. So like compared to that, like working in retail or advertising, it's just a job. Like the fact that we have the option to be entertained, or that like we can take the time out of our day to like find something that entertaining,
Hmm.
or like, you know,
Yeah, every job I've ever like, I'm definitely on that side of the equation. I'm like user facing. Every job I've ever had, I've either literally entertained people or sold entertainment to them. And it's, for the most part, unless it's a really sucky customer or guest or visitor, it's a great experience. And because either they're having a good time or they're about to have a good time. Like selling someone a video game at launch on midnight, you can taste their like excitement. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind being on the other side of the coin either, though, because like I said, I would
being on
get
the
better
yeah.
hours and I would make more money. So
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I don't know what it definitely feels dirtier to be on the marketing and advertising side.
yeah, because
If you actually think that way,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Because you're a snake too. It's like your goal is to trick someone into wanting something.
Right, yeah, when we were in school, like a topic of conversation in class was neuromarketing, and that phrase has been dropped because no one's supposed to be talking about that. Is like neuromarketing as a field is like very very real.
What's that?
It's like the evolution of subliminal advertising, ways to market things to people.
Without them knowing that's a advertisement.
Yeah, and not necessarily, because there are laws against that. So it's like these weird back alley ways of doing the same thing where you just play off of human psychology and hard sciences to figure out. I mean, like to a degree, the McDonald's logo with the red and yellow, and that's supposed to make you
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
hungry. That's like the most basic neuromarketing. But thinking of how that evolves, especially in a landscape with VR, AR, MR, and streaming, and like all the different ways that things can be advertised. Like it's easy. Like you were talking about how it's scary that the NSA is going to be spying on us, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, the NSA doesn't care what you're doing most of the time. They're spying on you to like figure out how to sell you more things. That's really end game, is making money.
I want money. Why not, right? It's like money makes the world go
Right.
around. It really does. Anyone that's ever told you that money can't buy you happiness didn't have enough in their wallet. Like when you finally can afford that one thing that you've been wanting for a while, maybe it's only for a couple hours, maybe it's for a couple of days, sometimes it's for a couple of months, but you're definitely satisfied in at least one way. Like even if it's just a beer, you're like, I finally got that beer I wanted. Like there's whoever created currency was very smart. Like when you get it, you feel good. When you spend it, you feel good. It's
Yeah,
probably one of the
it's
only
not even.
things. It's probably one of the only things in life where you're just as happy when you get rid of it as when you get it. Well, it
I
depends
have
how
to.
you got rid of
It's
it.
like
Like
it's too late
if
for me
it's
to like
paying
process that.
if it's like paying bills, you're not happy, but you're happy you have like the services that the bills grant you, I guess. But it's like payday and going to the club on the same day. It's like that's why it's like, oh, thank God it's Friday. Let's spend all the money we just made.
Right. Yeah. Have you heard that song by Gang of Four? To hell with poverty. We'll get drunk on
No, I
cheap
only have
wine.
one of their albums. I have
The main one.
fuck. Yeah, I think so.
Entertainment.
Yeah, entertainment. That's entertainment. I've heard Morrissey
That's
do
the
that cover.
jam.
Is that the jam? Morrissey has a cover of that song.
Oh, that makes sense to me.
It's like not good, but it's Morrissey, so I have entertainment and solid gold. I just had a double check.
Oh, you have the solid gold too.
That's not great, man. Bum, bum,
Yeah.
bum. That song is so cool.
Derailing the tech conversation for a Gang of Four advertisement.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Consumer fascism.
Woo. Um, Getting back on some VR shit though, because neuromarketing super kick ass. Well, not in that way, but I'm gonna research it because it's something I've never. I'm sure I've thought about it, but I've never heard the term or researched its context or usage.
I think it had a short lifespan, that term.
They had probably just divulged into AR and stuff. Because anyone that plays Pokemon Go is a walking Pokemon advertisement.
Yeah. Well, so many things are like that. I mean, how many products have we advertised just in the hour or whatever we've been talking?
Oh, that's true. Just by like, well, it's different though. Like conversing about something isn't the same as like you see someone who has a really cool pair of shoes. You don't know what they are. You ask, and then, right there, like based on concrete characterization, you can know that they are into that kind of thing, and then you also are aware of that product and you want it. Versus if someone's like, "Oh, when's the last time you had a V8?" Like, is that really advertising? Like, that's just conversation.
I think in the way that companies representing their products see it, it is absolutely advertising. The more name recognition,
Yeah,
it's like a matter of branding and name recognition.
it's the free advertising. It's the proof that your
What?
product is good. It's like free advertising because it's proof that your product is so good
Oh
that your
yeah, yeah, no, yeah.
consumers will talk about it without
That
you
we've
having to
heard of
pay
it.
them.
Yeah,
Which is powerful, and
and that,
it's real funny because VR isn't that really. Like you work in the field, I talk about it all the time. I have the pre-order, like I said, at the top of the show. I like telling a lot of people about it, but a lot of people still are really oblivious, and that's probably going to change this month, this October. A lot of people are betting on it. I think I read this thing over at The Verge. It was where they're saying that October is going to be the month where the VR revolution begins because there's so much shit happening this month. Google has a press conference on October 4th where they're going to show off their Daydream stuff, the successor to Google Cardboard.
hmm
The 5th, Oculus is going to have their third annual Oculus Connect like press conference where they're going to show off the Oculus Touch controllers among other things. The Sony's PlayStation Virtual Reality comes out October 13th
that's the
worldwide.
big one.
That's the major one. But then even on top of that, there's also like a virtual reality developers conference, which is the first. It's been at the game developers conference for the last couple of years. It's the first time it's getting its solo event. So all these things all at once, all during October, right before Black Friday.
And the election.
Like this quarter four is gonna be bonkers. Like
Mm-hmm.
even though Oculus and HTC put out their VR headsets back all the way in March, they haven't really sold since April. But because of the word of mouth that Sony's probably going to get, along with all of this shit, I have to imagine it's going to be the must-have this holiday for everyone, for gamers, for people that like movies, for people that love porn, for anyone. Like it's just gonna there's like the PSVR is gonna sell so fucking well that it's gonna be impossible to find. That everyone's gonna want one, and it's gonna be like I'm hoping, or at least Sony's hoping. I kind of hope because if this doesn't happen, I'm an early adopter, got screwed. But if it does get this like crazy buzz about it, it could seriously be the shot in the arm. Like it can make VR take off because it's been dormant for like 6 months now. It's no one's buying this shit anymore, and there's not killer apps.
There's yeah, there's just no content.
Like
There's no quality content, and then the content that does exist, like if you have to pay
mhm.
for it at all, you're disappointed because you have a 3 minute experience that like you pay $20 for. That doesn't make any sense.
Like there's amazing things like Google's Tilt Brush, and so there's countless numbers of 3D artwork out there that you can watch from that, and that's a free thing on both Oculus. Well, it's going to be on Oculus soon, but it's on HTC. It's probably going to be on Daydream. I have to imagine it's going to be on PlayStation Virtual Reality. Like that alone is cool. Like that's the new like 3D molding, like making 3D artwork. Um, but Sony, they're not just video game facing. I mean, they obviously have a movie studio. They make technology. They make cameras and memory cards and just about anything you can think of. They help create the CD, DVD, Blu-ray, ultra high def Blu-ray. Like if you can think of it, they've probably had a hand in it, even Betamax. But they just teamed with Reality One, they make a lot of VR stuff. I don't know if you've heard the name. The thing that they put out most recently was with John Favreau, his Gnomes and Goblins experience, which isn't even, it's like a teaser. It's not even the real thing yet. But so Sony and them are going to be working on a slate of VR content. I would have to mean that this is going to be obvious for their known IPs. They already had a VR experience earlier this year called the Ghostbusters Dimensions that was put on by The Void, which
Oh
is
yeah, the
doing,
New York thing.
yeah, such kick-ass stuff. Like, I want to go to their arcade. I think it's opening in Utah.
I think it's already open. Oh,
Is it
maybe it's not
open?
open. Maybe it's not open.
I
I
want to
know people have
go.
been to it, and apparently
It's
it's very, very, very
Yeah,
immersive.
because they don't. It's like they're using their own headsets with the VR backpacks, right? But then they also have like fog and smells and dynamic lighting, like air cannons. The Ghostbusters one, it's like you had a light gun in your hand, so it was also like an arcade thing where you got like high scores. But
Well, and
then
it's multiplayer is an
yeah, it was
amazing thing
multiplayer,
too.
but then even cooler than that, it was like on a real set. So there were doors that opened and like books you could pick up and like things that you could interact with. So in VR, it looked a certain way. In the real world, there's probably not even paint on it. But the tactile immersion, like it was supposedly the void stuff, it it tricks you 100% into thinking that you're there. So that was a Sony thing, but then they also went for their movie The Walk last year. Um, I have to imagine PlayStation branded content's going to be coming this way too. So Sony Pictures, I don't know if they're trying to make like full on experiences, maybe tie-ins to their movies that are coming out, like a Spider-Man Homecoming VR experience. That I feel that's a no-brainer, and it's probably going to be really cool. I think it would be awesome as like a tie-in when the trailer comes out. If it's from the point of view of like a criminal, and Spider-Man at the end like shows up and stops you, or something like that. Just like
Okay, so you're the criminal, and then
yeah,
Spider-Man gets you. Yeah,
like an interactive trailer.
and that would be like for the PlayStation VR, right?
Yeah, like they'd probably put it everywhere so they could make money. But yeah, it could be like a timed exclusive, like let's say for like 2 weeks only. It's only on PSVR.
Yeah, I'm just really curious, like when they launch the PSVR, what the content's gonna be like, because people are gonna expect, you know, fully fleshed out video games.
I've had many conversations on the PSVR subreddit about this. I'm trying to just teach people there because not even just on that subreddit, but also the world at large. Most people they think PlayStation, they think gaming, and they think the PSVR is going to be strictly for virtual reality gaming experiences, which is fair. And there are like a lot of launch games, and just their launch lineup, their launch window lineup, is more powerful than all of the games on like Oculus and HTC combined so far because a lot of them are made by AAA studios or they're known IPs like Batman Arkham VR from the people at Rocksteady that do the Arkham games. Star Wars Battlefront's gonna a VR thing, like Final Fantasy and Tomb Raider and then there's like esports like potential IPs like Rigs and Eagle Flight and so much stuff that they're obviously games first, like PlayStation's always been, but then it's still Sony. Like they're still trying to make movies and music happen and sell shit. So like I don't know how many VR experiences are going to be ready that aren't games, but the within app is already parked on the PlayStation Network. So that's going to be available day one, and they have a lot of great content. If you haven't seen the Mr. Robot one, like that one's pretty kick ass. I think I've seen like one other thing on their app. They're more artsy. Like they were known as Verse VR SE, and then they changed their name like 2 months ago. Um, but I hope everyone comes. Like it's not like oh they only have games, they only have this. Like I want to see everything on there, like Tilt Brush and in VR and like the little movie things and the Star Wars shit and just about like Jaunt VR, like anything that's out there if it sells well, is gonna come. So I think it could be the first for gaming and the first for because of that adoption. Because Sony, their history with media taking off because of their help is astronomical. The first PlayStation was the first CD player most people owned. PS2 was the first DVD player. PS3
Yeah,
was the first Blu-ray player.
definitely.
PSP was like if you didn't have an iPod, it was probably your first digital media player. They've had along the Walkman. Like you can make so many examples. I have a Sony phone um, that it's like if anyone can do it, it's probably them.
Yeah, I think they can pull it off, and having like a breadth of experience, just playing with different types of VR
Mm-hmm.
out of necessity, like something like Within or Jaunt, it's still dependent on your data streaming.
Yeah.
So if you have like a shitty Wi-Fi connection,
I've
you're
downloaded
in trouble.
all my experiences from John and Within. It's always been downloaded. I'll just like wait like however long it takes for the gig or two to download because it's seriously like I hope the same is true on PSVR. I hope they don't make it bandwidth only because that would
I couldn't
yeah,
imagine they're that stupid.
they could be. I don't know because
That's
they
that's been like the narrative throughout VR is it's like, oh, no one's that stupid, and then
no, yeah,
you
because
see it
you
and it's,
can
oh.
stream YouTube VR content, and I've tried many times, and my phone feels like it's gonna be a volcano. Like it is not friendly on a processor slash like unless you have like T1 or Google like FiOS. Like if you don't have fiber Verizon FiOS, like there's probably no chance of you even being close to the speed. But like if you can stream 4K, you can probably stream VR. It's just a question of if your hardware is up to spec.
Yeah, but like people are gonna want to play MMOs in VR,
It's
right?
happening. Like not like MMORPGs, but there's several social MMOs out there. Like the big one is called Meta World, but then there's also Second Life. They're working on something called Sansar, which is like the VR follow up. So either one of those could take off. And Meta World, if you haven't seen it, looks really cool. It's not a game at all. It's just like a place where you can meet up and hang out, and it has like facial recognition and like it can, based on how your voice inflection, it can articulate your avatar a certain way, so it looks angry or happy or it laughs or whatever. And there's no body. It's just like a floating head and hands. Like it's all you need, and it's supposed to work like amazing. I have to imagine that's going to be on PlayStation, just because, or even more so. Back on PS3, they had this failed like virtual. It was basically like Second Life called PlayStation Home that tanked so hard, and they could easily bring that back in VR. Like call it Home VR, or just call it PlayStation Home again 2.0 or something. Um, because it sold out so fast. Have you experienced PSVR?
PSVR, no, that's the one that I have
It's the
not.
one you haven't. You can go all over the place. They have demos at GameStops and Best Buys, and like it's public demos every weekend, all the way until January. I've only done Oculus and Gear VR, and obviously Cardboard, but it is so comfy. Like the weight distribution, it feels like you're not wearing anything.
Well, the huge thing about PlayStation VR, and this is like the hard sell for me,
Hmm.
is it doesn't actually touch your face, right?
It does, except it doesn't use like the cotton or whatever, like the spongy materials that everyone else uses. Instead, it's like hard plastic and rubber. So
It's easier to clean.
way easier. Like you can do it. I'm still gonna buy those stupid like maxi pad VR headband things, but you can easily take like baby wipes and just clean it off like that. Like that's what they do at E3 and CES and stuff. And
I
that's it's meant
don't
for
trust
people to
it.
share.
Yeah. Oh, the PS
Yeah, the
the
PSVR.
PSVR is.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
when I
the
did
Oculus and Vive are
Mhm.
not.
When I did Oculus, every single person got their brand new like face mask, basically.
Yeah, because that was a great marketing opportunity for the company. I know Hyperkin is like probably the main one, and they sell, yeah, they are like little maxi pads
I've worn
that are
one, yeah. It's like a
they're
dental
like
dam.
$1 a unit at least.
No, they're less than that. You can get them on Amazon. I think it's like $35 for 100,
Okay, 35 bucks for 100.
which isn't so bad. Like,
It's not great when you're thinking of the throughput.
well, like also though, Sony wants this to happen, and VR is supposed to be like this anyway, and that's why like Cardboard and Gear have taken off so well. That it's supposed to be a social thing, so they're banking on people to take their PSVR because there's not going to be a lot of them available at launch. Like I'll have one, but I'd say like out of the 43 million PS4 owners out there, or it's probably closer to 45 now since they did a console refresh this month, that maybe 5% of that audience has one. I think that's probably a rough estimate of how many are going to be out there at launch. And they want everyone to go to their friend's house and let them experience it. Because you just take the box, you plug it into their PS4, and then you're good. You don't need a $2,000 computer and to nail these laser sensors into the wall and make sure your couch isn't in the way or anything like that. Like, the fact that it isn't room scale and it doesn't require this beefy hunking like mega rig means that it's for the people. And
you don't have the mobility though, right?
you do. Like,
You can like walk around within a space.
you can. It's not. There's a singular tracker. Okay, a stereoscopic camera that you put somewhere in the room. Like, I think they want you to have 3 meters by 4 meters, so it's roughly the same amount of space that the Vive takes. Except, like I said, it's only one tracker. But the way PSVR works is it uses accelerometer and gyro sensors. And then it also has LEDs all over the head-mounted display, and it tracks those in natural space using the camera. And the PS Move controllers, the hand controllers, it's the same exact thing. They have the same tech.
You don't lose tracking when you turn around?
No. Like, I forget what it's called. It's called, like, I can't remember right now. But there's complicated computing that happens where, based on the numbers that they have regardless, it can still basically know where you are. And there's sensors in terms of the head-mounted display all over the front. It's like 360. There's some on the back of you, on the front, on the like everywhere.
Yeah.
And so in conjunction with like the retinal, it doesn't have like retinal scanners, but I think it has sensors within the HMD itself that it knows when you're wearing it and when you're not, and when your eyes are looking at the screen and things like that. But that's just something that I've read. I didn't actually experience that the 2 times that I've worn one. But very, very comfy. I've had the touch controllers for like almost 5 years now. Like, I adopted them on PS3, so I'm really happy that they're going forward with the same tech. Because they had the first touch controllers on market, and even back in 2010, they were crazy accurate. Like,
they're Sony proprietary.
And it's one-to-one tracking because of the 3 different ways of tracking the movement. And it doesn't have a lot of buttons. They don't have analog sticks. It's like a trigger on the back, a button on the front, and then 4 buttons like that the Sony's controllers have anyway. But then they have another controller called the Nav controller that has an analog stick and a couple of buttons too, and 2 triggers. So time will tell if it's going to work with both of them or just the Move. I don't know. I have 2 of each, and I'm getting 2 more of the ones with the ones that look like dildos with the balls on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little Hitachi ones.
Yeah, it's the weirdest looking thing, and it feels really good in the hand, and it vibrates, and
it does vibrate.
Yeah, and the lights, what they actually do besides positional tracking was, if you weren't in VR, they would glow for like different actions. Like, I can't really explain it. It's like, say you were like, this has never happened, but like you were spray painting and you were like using red spray paint, then the ball would be red. Like, that's kind of what it is. Like, it's real corny, but it's like a cute little thing that's not going to matter in VR. Like,
I moved and I lost you.
It's a dark room thing.
Hold on. Let me see. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, touchy stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a dark room thing, but they're cute. I have some if you ever want to. I mean, if you don't do a demo before it happens, you're like more than welcome to come over and play with the plethora of experiences I'll have / games.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be moving into the PlayStation right away. I think I have a feeling that there are gonna be fewer developers for it because if they're smart, they're going to want to keep the quality up. Not to say that we don't have the quality, but they're going to probably have fewer development houses working on it, or larger scale ones.
It's possible. I don't know, because in terms of just tech specs, PlayStation's the lowest. It has the weakest field of view. It's the worst dimensions. I think whatchamacallit, the definition's not as good. Like, it's not above 1080, for instance. It doesn't obviously have as good of a GPU or video card as a top-of-the-line rig does. But even still, the screen door effect is pretty non-existent because they use red, green, blue subpixels, and then on top of that, it's just I don't know. They like if you're looking at like a menu, you can obviously tell if you're reading text, it's pretty apparent. But when you're in a game or an experience, I can't tell. It's so good.
Well, that's what I mean as far as the developers, because the way that VR experiences are developed, it has to be extremely optimized if the system that it's going to be running on is in terms of CPU and GPU processing isn't going to be like maxed out, then it has to be developed in a really, really streamlined way. And that's not something everything can do, because you can go through Unreal or Unity developers and they'll say they know what they're doing and then give you a product that isn't going to run optimally on whatever system it's intended to run on. So if you think of something like PlayStation that's like potentially inferior on those specs,
it's like everyone still gets the exact same experience because it's a singular spec sheet.
Right, that quality control has to be, or like they have to have a really high bar set.
Yeah.
As far as who they allow to develop for it.
Well, there's a lot of studios working on stuff. The cool thing about Sony is that it's a 90 frames per second minimum with the high end is 120. And so for most of it, what they do is 60 frames and then they up it to 120 through processing.
Right, yeah.
But even still, like in terms of what I've got nauseous on one PSVR thing so far, and it was Valkyrie, and it was because I was being fucking stupid and I was doing barrel rolls and stuff, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. But I was like, I've never done PSVR yet. I'm gonna do the barrel rolls. Like why? Like why wouldn't I? You know?
Yeah, you got to, and then you get sick.
And then I got sick.
Did you ever get motion sick on any other types of VR?
Yeah, I've gotten pretty bad drift on my cardboard, and once that happened, I kind of stopped using it. I have a swivel computer chair, the chair I'm in right now, so it's perfect for VR because I can, go 360 without worrying about running into anything.
Right.
And so I wasn't in my chair for this one. I was standing up. I was like watching a video, and it was really trippy. It was like, I remember exactly what it was. It was a in-style, I think it's on Jaunt, but it was like a in-style photo shoot with Drew Barrymore, okay? And there was this one moment where she's like getting her makeup done. It was like nothing fancy. I don't think it was even in 3D. It was just like a 360 camera in the middle of a room with shit going on. And so at this one moment, I realized that I could see the camera in the mirror. I could see the reflection. So I paused it and I was looking around. I'm standing up and I got so tricked into thinking that VR was real that I started leaning forward to like kind of like zoom in, which I guess actually happens on the Vive.
Yeah, it does.
And I was so in the moment that when I was doing that, I guess I messed up the motion calibration or the gyro sensor or something. So I was standing perfectly still, but my phone thought that I was leaning sideways and kept on leaning sideways. So I was like moving the other way to readjust my angle, and it got worse and worse and worse. And I was so stupid. Instead of just taking the thing off my face, I sat through this torture for like 10 seconds, and that was enough to make me nauseous for like a day. Like I slept it off, and I woke up, and it was still kind of bad. Like it could have just been bad timing for when it happened, but it was really, really bad drift. Because it wasn't VR sickness. It was just it really fucked up the telemetry in my brain for a couple hours.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about that, because that was like one of your first like fully immersed experiences. Considering how like honestly primitive the technology is now.
Yeah.
Like, who's to say it's even safe?
It probably isn't, to be honest. Like I know they don't recommend VR for people under 12 just because of the distance of their eyes and their brain development.
Intraocular muscle development.
Like it can, I don't know if it can stunt their growth, but it can. And there's gonna be so many parents who have bought their kid or are going to buy their kids PSVR and ignore those warnings, and then just like the like,
Yeah, no, it's been a problem for me on the road because you really have to
uh-huh.
fight the parents.
I
You
bet.
really,
It's like they don't. It's like I give my kid coffee too. He's an adult already. He watches R-rated movies. He can do it. It's like
it's
you
that
don't
same exact
understand.
shit. Or it's like the worst one I heard is it was like a tiny, tiny kid,
Uh
and the like the Zanny mom was like, she's been to Disneyland, she's been on Space Mountain,
huh.
and it's like, okay, so you think like this VR experience, which like if your eyes are not the right size and shape for the VR, it's like wearing a glasses prescription that's like really wrong. And in the early, that's just like on a mechanical level what's
Yeah,
wrong with
and
it.
it's
That's
not
like not at
even
all
the software.
psychological.
Yeah.
So that's not even psychological. And like she's been on Space Mountain. That's like how dumb these parents are. And yeah, you can't fight with them. Just like, I mean, there would always be the parents that would buy like really young kids violent video games.
It's
The
like
evolution of that is
it's
like actually going to
so
be breaking children.
it's so crazy. Like as a kid, I remember I thought it was so cool that my mom, like my parents would buy me, the M-rated games. I thought it was so cool. And now when I'm on the other side of the equation, when I'm selling these games to parents, and I tell them without a doubt. First off, I have to, but I make a point to force it. I'm like, this is rated M for blood, guts, gore, bad language, maybe like sex and nudity, drug usage, and they don't even blink an eyelash. They're like, yeah, that's fine. And I've like when they come in and buy like their 11-year-old GTA, which I also had at 11, I'm like, well, that's why I say the bad things.
Yeah.
you know, like,
It makes a huge difference, and what that's going to translate to in VR, like,
actually feeling like you're doing this stuff. Yeah, like
yeah,
it's pretty bad. Like,
but they'll be blind, so it's fine.
yeah, they're gonna lose their sight very fast.
Yeah.
Have you know what the Brookhaven experiment is?
No,
No,
that
it's
sounds terrifying.
yeah, it's this HEC Vive experience where it's a game that basically it's like zombies are trying to kill you, and your left hand you have a flashlight and your right hand is a pistol, and you go through waves to see. It's like Nazi zombies. You see how long you can survive against the zombies. And I've seen footage and it looks very terrifying. Um, but Vegas is apparently going to start trying to attract millennials to gamble by using virtual reality.
Oh yeah,
So
that makes so much sense to
yeah.
me.
So Upload VR has this really kick-ass article about this. It's going to be shown off later this week at this expo. It's called like G2E, and it's in Vegas. But the concept here, to paraphrase the article, basically there's going to be a user. Well, to begin with, there's going to be like a clear box like raised above the Vegas casino floor, right? And so anyone around can watch what's going on up there.
Hmm.
The user's going to be in there in their little Vive room, in their little prison cell, doing the experience, playing the game.
Spending real money.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know exactly how it's going to work for the user. They didn't really have details. Like maybe there's going to be like a follow-up article on this. So they're up there, and how the gambling comes into play, the friends or the people on the floor have tablets, and they can bid on what's going on right now. It's like, I put $5
Oh,
down that they're going to get 5 headshots. $10 that they're going to get a melee kill. I think that for like $20 that they're going to survive to round 5 or whatever. Like they're microtransaction, like minimal bets on things that are going to happen in the game. And so the concept here is that it's skill based betting. It's not rolling dice or what kind of draw you get or something like that, what hands you're dealt. It's literal like esports, like this guy is this good, how good do you think he is? And they're even talking like this could be totally immersive where they have like fog machines on the floor to attract guests, or like hostesses in zombie gear to like play into the experience and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure in the next 5 years that we're gonna see this in casinos because it's cheap. It's cheaper
it's
than
so cheap.
like you could get the whole setup for less than $3,000.
Yeah, I wish I thought of it.
Like who? Because in the article it's like it's asking people our age don't do slot machines and video poker. Like that's for the like 50-plus-year-olds who just want to win money. They don't care. Like playing bingo and shit. But like think about how popular like Dave and Buster's is, or even like little like Chuck E. Cheese for kids. Like the concept of I play the video game, I'm good, I get these tickets, I use those tickets to get things. It's like the same thing. I'm so good at the video game that I'm gonna win real money on the spot, and it's legal because gambling's legal here. So
Yeah, it's very addicting. I went to Vegas on one of my trips, and I got too into the Britney Spears slot machine. I remember, and it's like it's funny until you're like, oh shit, this is real money the whole time.
yeah, I've been to
Because
Vegas.
it was like a running joke, and then it's like, oh, but
It's
it's real.
real.
It's money. That's
Yeah,
like money.
this isn't a game. This is
That's
money.
like when I go back to California, the things I could buy with that are
Yeah.
like real things.
So I've been to Vegas twice. The first time I didn't really gamble, but the second time I did, and I was somewhat smart. It was my 21st birthday, so I only took $600 with me. Like I set up a budget and everything, like this much for the hotel, this much for whatever. And the way I did it was every night before we went out, I had my $600, right? I would leave my wallet, like I would take my wallet, but I would leave my debit card and the money that I wouldn't
Yeah.
spend in the
Hmm.
safe. So I would have like 150 or whatever on me, and that way I couldn't go to the ATM at the strip club and take out like another $100.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to be smart, and it paid off. I didn't go crazy. So every time someone asks me to go to Vegas now, I'm just like, no, I can't afford that. Like
Yeah. Well, I don't get it. I don't get the Vegas thing.
I get it. Like people our age, they don't go for the gambling. They go for the strip clubs and the
And the
nightclubs
EDM.
and the EDM and the craziness and drinking in public and the Fat Tuesdays and geeky people like me eventually, CES when I get to go. Like that's like the only reason I would also they have a pinball museum in Vegas and I want to go to that cuz pinball.
How big is that pinball museum?
It's supposed to be pretty damn good, and I think you can play some of the machines too. Like it's an arcade and museum, and also I think it's like the Hall of Fame. It's like the pinball like place to go in the world. I just want to see if they have like the Who Tommy pinball machine, because if you've never researched it or heard about it, it would go completely black. I think like a shutter would close on top of it at certain moments, so you were like deaf and blinds.
How do they do the deaf part?
I don't know. But you're definitely blind. That's for certain. Like maybe the sound system on it, like they flip the switch off.
That's cute.
It's
I'd probably be just as bad at that as
like
I am at normal pinball.
yeah, regular
so,
pinball.
yeah.
I like certain tables. I can tell when I see one because if I go to a bar and they have one, I have to use it. I have to.
What does that look like?
What do you mean?
Like what? How do you like? What is a characteristic that you might be able to identify
Like
from
in the
the
machine?
good table? Yeah.
I look for like cutesy designs. For instance, like the Terminator 2 table, it's not like a plunger basically, a spring-loaded release to launch the
Mm.
ball. Instead of it's like a gun grip, like a pistol grip, and you pull a trigger.
Aha.
So if it has something like that, or it
Something
has
super
like
gimmicky.
or
Yeah.
like drawbridges, or like cool light-up displays, or like it's like a movie tie-in or something like that, I'm usually really attracted. And then if it's something just like a junkyard or something stupid like that, I usually
Cab driver.
yeah, like I'm usually a little less like I'm more apprehensive. I'm like it's gonna eat my quarters, I'm gonna die real fast, something like that. Because there's nothing I hate worse than it. Like you're in pinball, you launch, you get like one hit, and then it drops down, and there's no like ball
Mhm.
save. You're like fuck.
That's just me every time.
I have virtual pinball though, like on my PlayStation, and I saw
It's
this.
easier, right?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily that it's easier. It's more so that it doesn't cost money. Like you buy it once, and then you
Yeah.
never have to put quarters in, and you can mess up and just like quit and restart. And like there's there's leaderboards that are tracked globally and stuff. But I saw this thing months ago now, where this guy he made a VR pinball simulator. So what he did is like he had something that replicated the dimensions of a table. He had the two buttons on the side and the plunger and all that stuff, right? And then it was just he used Oculus and the like e pinball that's already out there. So it's like a pinball emulator. And when I saw this, I saw a YouTube video of it. I went, I need this really bad because that's perfect. Like I never have to, get mad when an arcade doesn't have VR. Like it doesn't have pinball anymore. But I think VR is going to come to arcades. It's going to make
Yeah, I'm
arcades
quiet
be a
because I'm
thing.
like the applications of VR. It's kind of I think I'm just a weird personality type where it's like, why would you play the VR pinball when you like what motivated someone to play pinball originally is the question, right?
It's like it looked as a shiny ball. It's fun, and it was gambling originally. Like, it's a fun game where it's all skill. Like, there's no luck with pinball. It's how good you are on the table. Every table is
Right.
different. Like, even if it's the same design, it could play differently based on its wear and age, and like all these factors. Like, it's a living thing. Like, it's a video game. While also like once they got to like the 80s, like it was a video game and like a physical thing all at once. But it's a dying breed. Like it is hard to find a pinball table. If like even if you
To buy one, you mean?
no, just to find one like in the wild, like to go to a place that has like an arcade and for them to have a pinball machine, like maybe they have one, they might have two, but they won't have more than that, and even two is lucky.
Unless it's 82 in downtown Los
No,
Angeles.
yeah, I've been there. They have a ton. Oh wait, no, I haven't been to 82. I've been to
The button mash or something.
I've been to one. Maybe it was 82, but one of them had like seriously like nine or 10. They had a lot of tables, and I
They had
was
like 12 or more.
yeah, like I was super hyped, and some of them were new. They had like a Star Trek 2009 pinball table. I was like, they still make these? Like it was really cool, and it was totally worth it. I went for like a friend's birthday, and like they also had like Street Fighter and like the more typical arcade games, but they had that whole other pinball room, which was kick ass. Like I
But
felt
isn't
like I
the
was at
physical
home.
nature of it like kind of what makes it appealing?
Yeah,
Like, would okay? Here's the better question: would you appreciate VR pinball if you'd never tried real pinball?
I no, I don't think so. Because I think like even just digital pinball, like playing on like your Windows XP computer, even that, if you had never played true pinball, I doubt people would be interested because
Right.
it's such a weird concept. But for someone like, say you are 50 years old and it's dawned on you that, oh, like pinball is dead. I can never play pinball anymore unless I'm a collector or like I know someone or something like that, or I go to Vegas to the Hall of Fame. The fact that if I told them like, oh, you can use a VR headset to make your own, virtual pinball emulator. If
Yeah, but eventually the demand disappears because those people die out. I, it's I'm just thinking in terms of futures.
Mhm.
Like we create all these things in virtual reality that we appreciate the virtual reality aspect because we understand it in base reality. But like in the future, like the older people are going to create content based on things that actually exist, and then the younger people will maybe only relate to it if they like have a concept of what the real is. So
it's hard to guess. Like it's to be a futurist is so difficult.
it's not even really worth it, but
Yeah,
you know.
because there's no way to know. Like for instance, like 10 years ago, the idea of Snapchat and like you could maybe understand Spotify, like what that would be because Netflix was already around, but Snapchat, like someone couldn't comprehend that. Like
I still
people,
can't comprehend
exactly, like
that.
people are still lost, and they make a ton of money. Like they're gonna put out these glasses called Snapchat spectacles for $130 that basically has like a circular camera sensor that's gonna actually take circular videos and photos. And you press a button on the hinge and it records little 10-second videos and puts it
So
directly
you
on
don't
your
even
phone.
have to pull out your phone for the
Exactly. So
Snapchat.
like people that are like DJ Khaled, he's definitely gonna buy one of these. He'll get one for free, I would assume, just because he's such a big personality on Snapchat. Um, but it's just you can't predict what the world's gonna want until they want it, and that's why VR is so fascinating because so many people out there think, especially when they haven't experienced VR, that it's the same as watching a regular movie except oh it wraps around your head and you're like no, it's like you're literally in it, like you're there. You were teleported to this other reality and it is real, and it with the 3D audio and the haptic feedback and
Yeah.
the hand tracking and the like all of these things at once, and it's like, oh yeah, and by the way, this is just the beginning. Like this isn't This is nothing. Like in 5 years, they're gonna go, "That's what VR was." Ha 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 ha. Like it's gonna be a joke.
It'd be straight up Total Recall.
Yeah, like the
Load the
headsets,
memory tapes.
the main, like the Oculus 3 or 2 or whatever is available there, like whatever Rift version is then, it's gonna make the current form look like Google Cardboard,
Yeah,
which is insane to think about. Unless AR takes off, because if AR is
they'll both
adopted,
happen. I think.
they're both definitely gonna happen because Snapchat is AR. Like they have augmented reality filters that people love using, and they don't even know that's AR. In the same way that people don't know that Pokemon Go
Yeah.
is AR. They're like, I know that I can see the Pokemon on top of the real world, and that's cool, but like the term isn't in their brain, or they're unaware of the technology, and yet they know it exists because they've seen it in so many things. And VR is just the opposite of that. But when we get that crossover, when it's everyone knows whatever, because it has to. No one can guess what it is, but whatever killer app is available, when we finally get that thing, like concerts are a good way in, and sports events like the Olympics were somewhat in VR. There's like live events like presidential debates, like maybe the next presidential inauguration, that could be a big turnout for VR. There's the concept, but there isn't the app yet. Like there isn't that game, there isn't anything, and that's what's holding it back. Because instead of the people at HEC and Valve and Facebook and Oculus and at Sony, instead of them working together to get VR work, they're like, nah, we'll use our own tech and our own proprietary stuff, and we'll all do our own thing, and maybe it'll be good or maybe it won't, but it's gonna be better than yours because you don't have what we
Well,
have.
yeah. I mean, like I have a little more insight into that than most people, and there's a lot of collaboration between companies that you wouldn't expect to be working together. Like I can't necessarily talk about it,
Yeah,
but
NDAs and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, but like we're in a weird phase of capitalism right now where it's like kind of the only way in tech, because tech is, there's so many things that you can do with tech. Like everyone's a little bit afraid that they're not going to have the golden idea.
Mm-hmm.
So companies that like ordinarily wouldn't or shouldn't be working together because they're formerly competitors are like, now like, we're going to come together and we're going to like make some agreements and all provide like slightly different products that can all feed into each other. You know, just like, you know, a VR experience can exist on Cardboard, Oculus 5, probably PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
all at the same time. Um, all of the elements of tech that go into that are also uh, made with either the assistance of or the intention of multiple companies collaborating. Is that coherent?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes sense. It's in the same way, for instance, like the new Xbox has a 4K Blu-ray player in it, and yet Sony's new PlayStation doesn't, despite Sony being one of the people responsible for Blu-ray. Like they didn't adopt their media before their competitor did, but yet they probably helped them implement the technology regardless. They also make money off of every sale that they have because they get, you know, pennies on the dollar for every Blu-ray transaction. But I wonder how, because Facebook probably wants everyone to help their vision, and that's probably why they shared their tech. But I wonder when the rigs start coming out, like when the Facebook's own and Sony's own, and because like the Samsung one isn't even, I'm not even consider that because I still think 360 isn't real VR. Like if it's not in 3D, you don't really think you're there.
Yeah, 3D stereo is a little better, but the actual like real-time rendering stuff, that's going crazy places too, with like live scans where you can scan somebody in to VR. It's very expensive, but you can scan somebody into VR, and then you can manipulate them in Unreal, in the Unreal developing, so it looks like they're moving around. You can like make them do anything in VR,
What the
and
hell?
it looks, yeah, dude, it's getting real weird real fast. And then photogrammetry, which is like kind of scanning in environments and stuff, and then placing those textures over models to look hyper realistic. Like, it's already possible to fabricate media, or like news media. It's possible to fabricate it
Wow.
because it's two-dimensional.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy, especially if it's just like, oh, this is some video from someone's phone. It doesn't even have to be high quality.
Because you could just blame it on the bad camera.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Oh, I can imagine kids turn in their homework in the near future just faking everything.
Yeah, I mean, that takes its own kind of intelligence, I guess. But
How would you even respond to a student like that? Like if they, I don't fucking know. It's like you have to in your VR classroom, you have to do like a play or something, and he fakes his performance. He uses a fucking he writes a program to do it for him while he's jerking off. Like,
I mean, there are always those kids.
there's gonna be those kids. Like
We mentioned one earlier in the conversation.
yeah, he is a kid. He's a lucky kid. I can't believe he's 24 because I knew he was young, but I didn't.
I don't know. I have to fact check that, but I think so.
He's definitely in his mid-20s. Like that's a guarantee. But we should just hunt him down. Like find like you said you know where he lives, but I like want to find out myself. Just like egg his house.
We should join forces with him and rule the world.
I don't think he needs us. Like
He might. He can't handle the social. The social aspects.
He's
of being alive.
proven. Yeah, he's proven that he doesn't know how to talk to people / communicate.
/ interact with like the public that's going to be buying his wares.
Well, I'm not. Part of that is because I don't upgrade my computer ever, so I'm definitely not going to upgrade it every couple of days to make sure that's at the top of what's possible. And then
Yeah, just wait.
it was just like the entry point was too much. Like I'm a PlayStation and Sony fanboy, but I have this well now it's only $300, somewhat supercomputer. Like it's very, very efficient. And to do VR, all I need is $440 on top of that. Like it is
for the HMD.
Yeah, like the PSVR's retail price is $399. The system is $299, and that's all you need plus the camera. And the camera you can get for $50. So the bare minimum, is $750 plus tax. You want the controllers? Like that's an extra. They want to sell the pair for $100. So we'll say like $900. You can have everything you need, all the optionals, plus a game, which just gets you the Vive. Like the same price point is just HTC's headset, which is insane.
It's the whole kit, but
everything that's in it, but it's not the computer.
Oh, but I see. Yeah, not the computer.
It's
I mean,
not the Valve store stuff. Like it's not the Steam experiences either. Like the games are extra, and they're in early access. Like they're not even polished yet. Like something like Super Hot or Super Heavy. No, Super Hot. Yeah, I got that right the first time. Have you seen that one? You know what that is?
Which one?
I think it's called Super Hot or Super Heavy, Super Hot. And basically, it's like the Matrix bullet time. Like people are shooting you, and if you move, like laterally, you slowed it. Like time comes to a standstill, and so it's kind of like a puzzle game. You're trying to avoid the bullets by stopping time. I hope that one comes to PlayStation because that's been on Oculus and HTC for a while, I want to say, or maybe it's on one but not the other. But it's been available forever. It was like just a 2D game for a couple of years before it was like, oh, this is an obvious VR thing, duh. Like it's one of those, and I think a lot of things are like that. That certain movies in particular are just going to transition. Like did you see that Hardcore Henry movie earlier this year, or do you know what it is?
No.
It's a film that's shot entirely in the first person, and it's like over-the-top action. And I haven't seen it yet, and the reason I haven't seen it is because I want to watch it in VR. But that's the kind of movie where it's like, this had to be made for that audience. Because most VR content so far, like, it isn't first person, just because of I think they're scared of how sick it can make you if the motion is too fast. Like, your brain being tricked into thinking that the locomotion is like that.
Oh, yeah. You just like your inner ear and how it correlates to what your eyes are seeing. I'm a big advocate of the sub pack that you would like put on the seat and it pumps sub bass frequency through you to give you the illusion of vibration and motion. That's probably the cheapest option out there for diminishing motion sickness. Widening up the field of view helps a lot, so that's not a thing with PlayStation, I guess.
Yeah, on PlayStation, like I was reading earlier, Farpoint, which is their game that uses an actual gun, like a physical gun for tracking. That one supposedly has
Icky.
it has like a much smaller field of view than other experiences, and because there's an analog stick and you can move around in that one. Like it's a first person shooter. So, but it's not you're not shooting people. You're shooting like spiders and stuff. Like you're on Mars or you're on a different planet. It's
Yeah, I wonder what like the difference is as far as like the parts of your brain, like the shooting spiders versus shooting people.
there probably is like if they
There's a difference for sure.
it's just in your gut it would feel bad. Like they have stuff like Job Simulator where you're doing nothing. There's not even human models. You're just like throwing donuts on the grill and stuff. But if you were, like say it was like human mutilation in VR, that would probably be like snuffed category. Like that might even be illegal. Like there's probably going to be some kind of like ethical clause that is made after the first one happens. Like much in the same way how Mortal Kombat like facilitated the creation of the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, like the MPAA of video games.
Right.
There's going to be that tipping point for VR. There's gonna
Or the
be
Hays Code for movies.
like
Yeah.
there's gonna be something that is so provocative and so mainstream that it scares parents in the world into adopting some kind of because the way that they rate video games doesn't translate to VR experiences, and how they rate movies doesn't either.
Nothing really translates to VR experiences, which is what the general public doesn't realize yet.
Because there's a possibility for you to write up like, oh, like there's people dying, and like you can make a list just like movies do of all the stuff that happens, all the bad stuff that happens. But then even if it's happening, if you're not looking in that direction, did it happen? Like if you're
and you can hide so much stuff in
yeah,
VR.
like what if someone was sitting on the ground and it was happening above their head, like literally above their head, and went over it, or someone was talking to them, they took one of their headphones off, right, and so they didn't hear it happen. Like there's so much. Like it really depends on what your reaction time is and how if you can see the curve ahead. Because even like on little things like the Invasion short film, I think it's like 5 minutes long or something. It's really cute. Like if you haven't seen it, basically there's like a bunny rabbit like just hanging out, having fun, and these aliens start fucking with him, and so he like makes their life shit. And it's one location. It's just 360 3D, no motion tracking, no room scale or anything. But it's just like it looks like a Pixar short. Like it has the same kind of style, and that's the kind of thing that is probably going to be really successful. Just because it's safe for all ages. There's nothing in there that is going to change anyone's worldview, and it's 3D animation, so it's easy, super easy to manufacture. Like Pixar is probably going to put out a VR movie. Or maybe not a full-on feature, but they're gonna, definitely have some kind of tie-in. Because Disney's been doing that a lot. Like Jungle Book earlier this year, that had a VR experience. Star Wars last holiday, you could get the app, which I still have. They have like the Jakku Spy stuff. So the studios are really trying. IMAX has their own arcade system basically coming out. It's gonna be in the LA area by the end of the year. So film goers, if they don't know, video gamers definitely will because of PlayStation, and who knows what the future has in store. It's scary.
All kinds of wild and wacky stuff. I don't think we can make any more predictions.
Yeah. The prediction that I have is that we talked as much as we can, and if
Yeah.
people have been listening for 2 hours, they've probably listened to all they can handle. So I gotta thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It was amazing. We got to hang out soon. It's been a while, and I'd love to have you back on anytime you feel like it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because
Thank you.
yeah, Steve, like he got a Google Cardboard right before he went on vacation, and he was telling me about it. But his phone is so shitty that it doesn't even have like a gyro sensor. So all he could do is look in one direction and look up and down. Now it sounds like that's not even I was like, Google Cardboard's not VR, and that's like not even Google Cardboard. Like that's like a peep show. Like that's not even.
Yeah, you're just kind of looking at a screen.
Yeah, but I was like, at least you took the jump, you tried. I was like, it's the thought that counts. You try to get on board, you try to, because I want to, start having like a recommendation list, because it's gonna get to a point by the end of this year, because Sony alone, they have 50 games in the launch window. That there's gonna be, and it's the same for HEC. There's so much on the Steam that
there's a lot.
You can't find what's good unless someone's telling you. Like there aren't many.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to pay for it,
Yeah.
and like you can't get like little teasers, because the teaser is like almost the whole experience.
You can get refunds on Steam. I don't know what their VR policy is, but yeah, like on major games, I think it depends on how long the game is relative to how much you played, but you can get a refund. But even weirder than that, there's no rating system on Steam at all. Not to mention for VR content, but for games at all, because it's like the wild, wild west of video gaming.
Yeah, it's crazy right now.
It's really crazy. Like Steam, they love them, hate them. You got to respect them. But yeah, that's the show. If you guys want to find more of our content, we're seriously all over the internet. iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, WordPress, Tumblr. You can go to Facebook and Twitter, $1 reviews. Yeah,
GeoCities.
I wish. Like, it would be cool to get like a archived website like that. We are on the archive.org, the Internet Archive. Podcat.com, I think it is.
Donate to the Kickstarter.
The Patreon.
Get us on Patreon. What is it?
Patreon. It's like patron.
Patreon.
It's like a patron, a patron, but with an E in there.
I got
Patreon.
You. Donate to that so that we can have our own GeoCities.
It's like all web hostings will be paid post haste in the past. The time machine of the internet. They still have like GeoCity sites for some movies. Like for instance, like You've Got Mail and Space Jam, their original websites from like 1997 are still on the internet.
Somebody probably had to pay a lot of money to keep that up.
Probably. Like the weirdest thing is that they're both Warner Brothers movies too. So why are they paying for those hosting fees? I'm not going to complain.
They know what they're doing.
They do. Like both those movies have such a big audience. I personally own 2 copies of You've Got Mail. One on Blu-ray, one on DVD. I guess I have to get a VHS copy. That should be my next one. That should be it. Yeah, but thanks for listening to the show, people. Hope it's been a pleasure. Hope it's been a good one. And catch you next week.
Peace.